What is up, everyone? We are back. We are back. How's everyone doing today? It is a good Wednesday. It is hump day, technically, huh? Isn't it? What's up, Derek? What's up, Nat? What's up, Cosmos? Hey, Owo, what's up? Thanks for moderating, by the way, Owo. Yuki, what's going on? SI Kitty, Danganronpa Edits, Karu, Kayla, Ice Cold, Mage, Vivian, Clover, Flitter, Soul Forever's here. What's up? The Real Rosie, hi. Savion, what's going on? I've heard about Danganronpa Antebellum, and shouts out to y'all, by the way, because I see you in the chat. How have you guys been? Tay Faye, what's up? Javier, Arnold, what's going on? Raises coffee mug, Blaze, happy to see you, homie. You doing okay? Yeah, how are you? By the way, I have to answer you on Discord. Sorry, I don't really get on Discord very often. Like, I'm like so bad with social media. Other than Twitter. Twitter I'm on a lot, obviously, because that's where I get all my news and stuff like that on. But yeah, when it comes to Discord, I'm like never on Discord. So if you message me on there, I'm really slow at messaging. Because I'm always editing or doing other things, hang out with my girlfriend, things like that. Ultimate's Darkness, what's up? How you been? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Puffers, what's up? T poses to heaven. What's up, Yuki? Don't apologize. You probably have a lot on your plate, and I'm happy for your time. Aw, thanks. I appreciate you, Derek. I have a biology and an English test tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. Ooh. I like English. Well, I did when I was in school. Biology's not too bad, I don't think. What's up, Munchkins? How you been? Can't wait to see this. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. So this is the fan dub of Danganronpa IF. I don't know if you guys saw my video like a few days ago, or maybe you just saw the video yourself somewhere else, but they actually did Danganronpa IF animated. It was created by, what's his name, 64 or something like that. It's on Twitter. They created the animation, and they used the fan dub that we're going to be reacting to today. So we're going to check that out. What's cool about the fan dub is the fan dub actually uses a video from someone else called Zeo Dragon. Shouts out to them, because they made this thing where they compiled Danganronpa IF, where you can get a good gist of the story. It's awesome. You get a good gist, and on top of that, you get to see sprites and stuff move, so that's always good, right? I made a random Rampa concept today. Man, I can't speak today. What's up, Justin? Yo, it's been a while since I caught a Blaze vid or stream. Well, welcome, Cherry. How you been? I'm writing history and sociology. Sociology, I'm not bad at. You're not bad at sociology? I did 4 tests in 2 days. I'm just ready for the weekend. I feel you on that. I love DRIF. It's such a cool concept to me. I don't remember it. I really don't. That's why when I saw the animation like a few days ago, I was like, I know I read this like 5 to 6 years ago, but I don't remember what the f is happening. I know it's about mainly Mukuro and Makoto. Danganronpa IF has always been some of my favorite Danganronpa written side content. Did any of you guys read Zero? Who in the chat read Zero? Give me a 1 if you read Zero. Give me a 2 if you haven't. Thought this was going to be a video, not a live stream, so I rushed here. Hey, what's up, Harley? When I saw the live notification, I went, oh my god, Blaze is doing it. What's up? I remember watching that 5 to 6 years ago. Oh my god. My reading of it, really? It was pretty bad. I was a bad YouTuber then. There's a lot of 2s. And a couple 1s, but there's a lot of 2s up there. Yikes. I'm drinking coffee too. Dark roast coffee with sugar. What's Danganronpa IF? It was, so if you ever played Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, it was basically the side content. It was a side light novel that you would unlock if you beat the game. And it's a what if story, basically, with Makoto and Mukuro as the main characters. So it's interesting. You'll see. You have to reread Zero. I know, dude. Dude, I need to brush up on that. Like, some of the Danganronpa side content, except Killer Killer, is really good. It's really, really good. Killer Killer was pretty bad, but everything else is really good, though. Oh, it was in Danganronpa 2. Sorry. Danganronpa 2. You're right. You unlock if after beating SDR2. Steam erased my progress, so I can't reread it right now, sadly. Aw, that sucks. What was Danganronpa 1? Was it the Hagakari light novel or was that UDG? What was Danganronpa 1's unlockable at the end? I feel like I had something. I love if there's some sort of Danganronpa What If anime or something like Marvel What If. I love Killer Killer. You liked it? I think it's really bad. Hagakari was UDG. Yeah, V3 only had like what, the salmon mode or something? Well, they had the Love Hotel also. The time change has messed up so much for me to know when your streams are. I'm sorry. Just the extra game mode. If I'm being honest, this is the first time hearing about Danganronpa IF. Really? Well, then you're in for a surprise. I'm glad that we're going to be able to see it like in video form. There's going to be sprites on the screen. There's going to be voice acting in this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I don't know for Trigger Happy Havoc. I think there was some sort of secret ending. Huh. Danganronpa 1 didn't have any novels? Really? I thought it had something. That's interesting. Have you seen Nezumi VA's Danganronpa video essays? Her stuff is so good. No, Wince. I know of them. I know Nezumi. I just haven't watched their videos. I just recently learned that they're a YouTuber. Because I feel like I've known them for a long time and they've been subscribed to my channel and they follow me on Twitter for a while too. But I've never knew that they were a YouTuber. Not your time change, but the summer time change. Oh, I got you. Because you live probably in another country, right? Probably a whole nother continent. Danganronpa 1 had that cutscene of all the student escaping, I think. Have the clocks gone back? They went forward. Did they go back or forward? I see Nezubi's vids in my feed all the time, but I have no time to watch them. Aren't they really long? I should check them out. But what's up? You knew her? Yeah. For sure. Mystery L, what's up? I feel like I know I've probably ran into a lot of people in the Danganronpa community. Like, if you have done Danganronpa anything, I probably know who you are for the most part. Danganronpa something was something you brought. Yeah, they're very long. Yeah, Danganronpa 0 wasn't something that you could... we didn't even get it over here in the West. It never got localized. But some fans did localize it. They translated it themselves, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a pretty solid translation for the most part. Let me do this real quick. Get rid of that. And we can start! YouTube! It is here. Danganronpa IF, the fan dub. We're going to be reacting to it. I wanted to do this as a stream and not just like a video because it's decently long and I feel like it'd be a really long video. So I was like, hey, I could do it with you guys. You know what I mean? It's funner when it's that way anyways. So I can see you guys' reactions on top of my own reactions. I love doing that. So if you haven't already, hit that like button. Shouts out to Zeo Dragon and also Sid Gal. I think that's the channel for this one. Yeah, Sid Gal. For doing all of the work for this. They are amazing. So let's see all of the beautiful voices in Danganronpa IF. I'm so happy to be able to revisit this because it's been 5 to 6 years since I have read this light novel. So it's going to be fun. Hopefully everything's good. Yeah, it looks like it. Cool. Fangan recommendation, Zeo Dragon's almost Danganronpa Fangan. They have their own Fangan too? Zeo Dragon's cool.
The world is full of ifs. If Adam hadn't tied the knot with Eve, society as we know it would have been born. The world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs, and will continue to be a muddled world overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what's in me so soup, you know. What lies beyond this is a scary world filled with iffy stepfathers who abandon their family.
Let me go ahead and say this Monokuma voice is great. I need to rewind just because it's that good. It's that good.
The world is full of ifs. If Adam hadn't tied the knot with Eve, society as we know it would have been born.
Hi,
The
Blair.
world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs, and will continue to be a muddled world overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what's in me so soup, you know. What lies beyond this point is a scary world filled with iffy stepfathers who abandon their families.
That's a good voice.
Where the inside and the outside are filled with uncertainty. But don't break it, okay? It'd be so expensive that there's no way you'd ever be able to pay me back. But No matter how you look at it, ifs are simply worlds like any other. No matter how hypothetical the story may be, the future is the only thing that's truly foggy. And the past is more solid than a frozen banana.
Oh, the banana just... What?
Happened. Even if you see a world that may have existed,
I love it.
Wouldn't affect the people living in reality. Because if is only if after all. Even if a parallel world exists where a particular if actually happened, humans cannot cross the boundaries between worlds that easily. No matter how far if goes, it will always be a what if scenario. Do you really want to see that? You've got some sick interests. Don't you think that's an insult to Makoto and the others after the tragedy they overcame?
True, I guess.
As far as I'm concerned, I'll still insult them. If you're gonna look at if, I think it's better if you view the outside of the Klein bottle first. It might even be better if you view the ending of a video game called Danganronpa Trigger Happy Happy. Try to play it at least multiple times, and spend your free time with Junko and Oshima at least 3 times too.
Ew, no! Who likes Junko?
If you collect all the items and movies too. But if you guys have come this far...
I mean, I've collected a lot of Danganronpa stuff over the years, for sure.
Still, I'd buy the game if I were you. I'd actually buy at least 2 copies if I were you.
I have like 1 billion copies of Danganronpa. I have the Vita copy, I have the PC copy, I have the Switch copy. I have too much Danganronpa. Ooh, this looks awesome already. I like this. We are ready for the supreme ship. Nekusaba, the ultimate ship.
What should I do with this?
Hold on. Whoa. At first, I thought that really was Bryce. Like, I thought that was Bryce. Hold on. Let's go back. Holy.
What should I do with this?
Wow. That's a very good Makoto voice. Despite his hesitation, his situation was extremely simple and composed of 3 key factors. The first factor was that Makoto was currently locked inside a school. Host Peak Academy is a school for the privileged elite, and each student attending possesses ultimate talent. Makoto was chosen to attend Host Peak Academy by a lottery held to select the ultimate lucky student. The freaking clover that flew by. He immediately lost consciousness, and when he woke up, he saw the exits and windows had been sealed shut. We know that. The next factor was Monokuma, a mysterious robot bear being operated by the mastermind, and the announcement he made to all the students.
You'll be living your whole life in this academy. If you want to leave, then kill someone and become the Blackened.
Hey, Bello, what's up? This strange remote-controlled robot was telling Makoto and his fellow Ultimates to start killing each other in exchange for their freedom. They learned that more than one Monokuma exists and that each one contains a bomb to prevent anyone from attacking them. Hey, Soul Eater, you voicing this? Well, shouts out to you. Who do you voice? I want to know. On top of that, Monokuma announced that anyone who attempted to harm him would receive punishment. The third and final factor was the red button that Makoto was currently holding in his hand. And though the first 2 factors were certainly causes for panic, Makoto only seemed at loss over the third. During his free time, Makoto noticed that the school store was open and his curiosity got the better of him. He was overwhelmed by the disjointed atmosphere upon entering, but his attention soon focused on a strange vending machine. The words Mono Mono Machine were written on it, and it seemed to accept the strange bear-patterned coins they sometimes found inside the school. It seems like a bad idea, but Makoto thought there might be a chance that this machine could dispense some way of escaping the school. And so he inserted the only coin he had into the coin slot. The result was the escape button.
Limit to how much you can tease us.
Wait, hold on. It's the escape button. The escape.
There's a limit to how much you can tease us.
God, that's
Maybe
such...
the mastermind who trapped us in here is making a cruel joke.
God, what the freak? That freaking voice. That's crazy. You voice Mondo? That's cool. That's awesome. These thoughts filled Makoto's mind, and he began to feel deeply discouraged. However,
there's always a chance, right?
Makoto was just an ordinary boy, and he only gained entry to Hope's Peak Academy through a lottery to find the ultimate lucky student. Dude, you could have told me, I don't even know, maybe it is. If you told me that they just like inserted Makoto's like voice lines into this, I would have believed you. Maybe they did, but maybe that luck was the real deal.
Real. Maybe I can let Sayaka.
Makoto took a deep breath and pressed the button. Instantly, pain burst through his entire body. Okay, Makoto's arms and oh my god. He freaking died. Okay, that's not funny. Makoto's arms and legs went limp as he lost his balance and fell to the floor in a crumpled heap. As he breathed heavily, it dawned on him what had just happened.
Electrocuted?
He looked down at the button in his hand and noticed a small needle sticking out of it. Makoto quickly surmised that an electric current must have been running through it. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again.
I should have known it was a fake. My head still feels a little woozy. I should get back to my room and rest for today.
Yeah, you should. With that in mind, Makoto walked out of the school store with slow, careful steps. Please laughing at a kid dying. I'm sorry. That was funny. But Makoto didn't know yet. If the escape button really was a fake, it would have been an act of mercy from the mastermind. A small bear-shaped shadow began moving around inside the now empty school store. The shadow, Monokuma, stood before the Mono machine and stared at it silently. After some time had passed, he began to laugh. Despite the fact that he was alone, Monokuma began to talk, almost as if he was speaking to someone. Perhaps Monokuma was talking directly to the mastermind controlling him.
I only put that in the Mono machine because I thought it'd be interesting if one of the last few survivors happened to win it. But with a success rate of 0.0000001%,
oh my god,
I never thought anyone would actually win it.
That's a lot of zeros.
I should have expected the ultimate lucky student to overcome such impossible odds.
Monokuma started blushing and breathing heavily for no apparent reason. A robot like Monokuma doesn't need to breathe, but because his technology is super advanced, he can express himself like a living creature. Oh my god, stop breathing in my ear!
Through a lottery, and now he's won the escape button through a lottery. This is obviously impossible, right? Is this what a miracle is? Is this all systems go toward escaping? Is something that defies all common sense about to come crashing into my world? Well, even though I don't really want this at all, I'm starting to enjoy this new sensation.
Oh my god.
We'll be right back after these commercials.
Jeez. Monokuma's internal machinery began running at full capacity, and his facial expressions began changing more smoothly than any humans could.
Stop it. Get some help.
Can we talk about this real quick? Can we literally talk about how Monokuma is literally having an over freaking Makoto getting this escape button? This is concerning. He's a robot. He shouldn't have these. Suddenly, his expressions immediately stopped, and he whispered through his speakers.
Really good luck.
After muttering something so ominous, Monokuma's loud, screeching laughter rang jarringly throughout the room. Yeah, jarringly. The situation that was about to unfold contained two conflicting emotions in equal measure. Hope and despair. Blake is such a good VA. She's really cool. The next day at nighttime, student dormitory, Makoto's room. Makoto Naagi lay on his bed, desperately struggling with the despair and hope churning within him. Monokuma had forced the students to each watch the DVD earlier that day. Makoto showed a scene that suggested his parents and little sister were in danger, and he had now found determined to leave the school. It seems the other students were forced to watch shocking videos of their own, videos so shocking that they were now determined to escape the school too, even if it meant sacrificing someone to do it. However, it was obvious that these videos were part of Monokuma's trap. As long as a student killed someone, they were allowed to graduate and leave the academy. It seemed that the mastermind controlling Monokuma was hellbent on making the students kill each other. But right now, Makoto was most worried about Sayaka Maizono, who seemed to be incredibly distressed after watching her video. Hey, who cares about her, man? Sayaka was just the ultimate pop sensation. She was also Makoto's classmate when they were students at Blackroot Junior High. Nobody cares. Man, slide that girl out of here. Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days, and he was becoming a similar source of strength for her as well.
If nothing else, I have to at least save Sayaka.
As soon as Makoto thought that, he suddenly felt a small headache. Oh god. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other day? Or was this a side effect of being electrocuted by the escape button? As Makoto pondered these things, the pain slowly subsided and he returned to his determined thoughts of escape.
Anyway, we all need to work together and... Huh?
Hi Ruby, what's up? At that moment, Makoto realized his goal had changed slightly.
All need to?
Ideally, it would be best if everyone survived together. However, aside from Sayaka, Makoto had never met the other students before. He didn't know if they could even be trusted in the first place. But at that moment, he trusted them without even an ounce of suspicion. He believed they were worth helping, even at the cost of his own life. Just like Sayaka. The headache struck again, as if all the blood vessels in his brain were being individually sliced open.
I just think that I could trust the others as much as I trust Sayaka.
Makoto tried to figure out why his thought process had suddenly changed. Because you gotta love all the characters. Makoto, come on, you're the pro tag. Something was wrong. The throbbing pain in his head seemed to synchronize with a strange feeling that something was approaching him. Uh-oh. As a ray of light began to form within the dark recesses of his own mind, the doorbell rang. He quickly got out of bed, but that only made the headache worse. With no concern for his safety, Makoto carelessly opened the door to his room and came face to face with what?
I'm really sorry to come by so late.
Sayaka?
Aw, she sounds
What are you doing
adorable.
out so late?
The moment he saw her face, the pulsating pain in Makoto's head began accelerating. Oh my god, the voice acting's so good. He felt like this world was being torn apart from the inside out.
But something really weird just happened, and Makoto? What's wrong? You don't look so well.
Sayaka was pale and had been trembling when she came to Makoto's room, but she seemed surprised to see that his complexion was worse than her own.
I'm fine. It's just my head.
Makoto couldn't finish his sentence. His eyes rolled back into his head as he lost consciousness and slowly fell to the floor. Oh no! It's like his beautiful voice let out a scream as he stood over Makoto's body.
Oh, you're awake. Hey, you okay? How many fingers am I holding up?
Is that Asaina? Oh, it's Junko. What the freak? As Makoto regained consciousness, he was greeted by the sight of figures adorned with long fake nails being waved in his face. Or should I say Mukuro? Not Junko.
Junko, right?
Hey, why do you sound so unsure? I'm a little shocked to hear you say that.
Despite what she said, Junko Noshima, the ultimate fashionista, was laughing as if she found this all very amusing. Makoto looked around and realized he'd never seen this place before. Best girl, right? It looked somewhat like a hospital. 3 beds, including his own, were lined up in the room, with various medical instruments laid around them. The black ceiling felt strangely oppressive, but as he sat up, Makoto's mind immediately centered on one possibility.
Where are we? Did we get rescued?
That'd be nice, huh?
She replied as she looked away. Junko explained that this was the nurse's office on the first floor of the academy.
That Monokuma thing said, I can't bear to see my precious students getting sick, and opened this place up this morning. But don't you think it's suspicious? What if all these meds are poison?
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised.
This is our yes queen. Makoto remembered his encounter with the escape button and let out a small sigh.
So, why am I here, Junko?
Man, hit that escape button.
Sayaka for that. She was here the whole night taking care of you.
Aw, that's
She
sweet.
was?
Junko ignored Makoto's surprise and continued casually talking. That's so
Then
sweet.
Taka got all fired up and was like, we should take turns watching over him. I just happened to be on duty when you woke up. Well, and even then, only cause Byakuya ditched.
Ooh.
I see. Thanks.
Like I said, you should thank Sayaka. Anyway, how are you feeling? Is everything alright?
Huh?
Makoto thought about it for a moment and remembered what he had been thinking about just before he lost consciousness.
This is kind of weird, but... Well, actually, it's a really weird question, but...
What's up?
Junko, we've never met each other before, right?
Upon hearing this, Junko's eyes widened, but a few seconds later she began to laugh.
Are you for real?
Uh-oh.
That pickup line is like so totally played out, you know?
Even though she was grinning, a serious look came over her
Just
face.
So you know, you shouldn't expect anything like that from me. I know I look this way, but I take my virtue pretty seriously.
No, I mean, I never expected.
Well, that's what I figured. It's obvious that you're a total omega male anyway.
An omega male? What does that mean? Hold on. What does omega male mean? Somebody please tell me in the chat. What is an omega male? Oh my god. Makoto and Junko continued to talk to one another. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving to get the others, Makoto didn't question it. Is that like, do you surpass an alpha male if you're an omega male? As long as he interacted with his fellow students, he believed he would learn the truth about what was going on inside his head. 10 minutes later, Junko mostly talked about alpha males and omega males. Okay, so we have our alpha males and we have omega males. What the f is the difference? He's omega at being male? No omega male is the bottom tier of male? Wait, okay, so It's the opposite? The Omega verse is complicated. I'll explain later. Okay. Omega means bottom. Okay. Omega male, not a sus thing. Don't worry. All right. I'll just let it go then. So he's like the worst male ever then. If you're an Omega male, you're like horrible. It's like the breedable. What? Omega is the polar opposite of Dami Mommy? That's so weird. Her time being homeless and about her past and her dreams. The last topic was a lot heavier than the previous ones, but Makoto's calm demeanor seemed to cheer her up. She smiled sincerely and said softly,
Thanks, Makoto.
maybe it was a sign of gratitude for listening to her troubles, but she kept that same smile as she blurted out something horrifying.
In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you.
What?
Don't say scary stuff like that.
That's messed up. At least that's what Makoto thought, but the words that came out of his mouth expressed this different sentiment.
I see. Thanks, but I wouldn't want you to become the Blackened in the first place.
For some reason, Makoto felt like the murderous words that came out of Junko's mouth seemed like a natural thing for her to say. She seemed very surprised by Makoto's response and quickly blurted out,
Huh? Are you serious? I was just kidding.
Huh? Oh yeah, of course. Sorry for acting so weird.
No worries. Let's just chalk this up to you being woozy from your recovery.
She returned to her usual bubbly self, let out a big stretch, and turned to
I'm gonna
Makoto.
get going now. Make sure you don't get killed before the next person arrives.
Uh-oh. Makoto. After seeing her off, Makoto lay down in his bed.
This strange feeling.
His dull headache continued as his thoughts began to blur.
I was just talking to Junko, but I feel like I was talking to someone else. Who is she?
The more he thought, the more it felt like his memories were sinking into a thick swamp. Each throb of pain pulsing in his head felt like a wave on the surface of that swamp.
What is this feeling?
It felt very unpleasant, as though someone's voice was screaming at him from inside his head. Makoto tried to organize his thoughts and go over everything that had happened to him, but he was interrupted by the sound of a bell. Unlike the dorm rooms, the nurse's office didn't have a doorbell. The bell sound that Makoto heard was ringing throughout the entire building.
Testing. Mic check 1, 2. This is a test of the school broadcast system.
It was Monokuma's
Now that Makoto
voice.
has finally woken up, please assemble at the gym.
Makoto listened to Monokuma's heartless order and got out of bed without complaining.
Go.
I have to go. He walked on. He walks one step at a time, in accordance with the rhythm of his throbbing headache. Slowly, he walked forward, not knowing if where he was headed was heaven or hell. Oh God.
Makoto, are you all right?
No, I'm not. Sayaka ran over to Makoto as soon as he entered the gym.
Thanks. Sorry about yesterday. I guess
What's up, Junko?
I worried you.
Please don't apologize. I'm sorry too. I barged into your room when you weren't feeling well.
Now that you mention it, what happened yesterday?
Sayaka looked away from for a brief moment, but immediately turned back, smiled her pop sensation smile, and shook her head.
It's nothing. I'll tell you some other time.
Huh?
While they were talking, Kiyotaka Ishimaru, the ultimate moral compass, stepped forward, pointing an accusatory finger at Makoto.
You're late, Makoto! Explain why you were tardy!
Explain!
The other students collectively raised their eyebrows as if they were thinking, why is this guy yelling at someone who was sick? However, Makoto just smiled gently and answered
I didn't
him.
feel well, so I was resting in the nurse's office. Can you note that in the daily logbook?
The daily logbook.
I see! That's consistent with my information. If that's the case, then I shall consider this matter settled.
I love his voice. The conversation progressed smoothly, and Taka smiled as he kept talking.
I'll take full responsibility for recording it. You just focus on recovering. If you ever feel ill, please report to the health committee. It seems we'll need to appoint health committee members after this meeting, though.
Taka walked away, mumbling to himself as he opened a daily logbook he found in the academy supply room. Celestia Ludenberg, the ultimate gambler, saw the whole conversation and walked up to Makoto. Oh, Celeste, hey!
Despite his unreasonable behavior, you knew exactly what to say to him.
Wow. As soon as Celeste said that, it dawned on Makoto. It's true that he didn't feel well and that he had been resting in the nurse's office, but when Taka asked him why he was late, even though he should have already known the reason, Makoto didn't feel annoyed or disappointed at all. It was as if he expected Taka to say that. Makoto felt strange that he had accepted Taka's personality so quickly. He couldn't understand why he asked Taka to do something as unnecessary as recording it in the daily logbook in the first place.
Why did I say that? It's like I was used to it.
Oh no. His response to Taka's demands came as naturally to him as breathing.
Why? Why?
This is turning into Zero Escape. Every time he tried to think about it, his headache grew even worse. As Makoto struggled to think about the pain of his headaches, a black and white stuffed animal jumped out from behind the gym's podium and began twirling around as it spoke in a cheerful voice.
Hey guys, is everyone here?
With that voice, I'd like a self-report later. I'll find the door myself, sorry. I love that.
What is it?
He sounded like he was about to lead the students on a field trip, but not a single one of them had a smile on their faces.
What is it this time? Are we gonna hijack a cruise ship and run into a gigantic worm?
Of course, there was one exception. Hagakari, the ultimate clairvoyant, still believed that their current situation was some kind of planned event. Monokuma just ignored him and continued to address the students with his adorable voice. What is this, Dune, Hagakari?
I'll tell you about our wonderful academy system. System sure sounds like a great word, don't you think?
On the Magic Despair bus, yes.
Danger, just like a bear. I want you all to trample over the decks of your friends and grow up to have hardened hearts. It's good to be a little naughty. I
Ooh.
want you all to grow poisonous personalities.
Oh, we're gonna be toxic. Yay! After making his nonsensical introduction, Monokuma moved on to the next topic. With this, he began providing a detailed explanation of the most vile system in the school. The class trial.
Now, you can't just kill someone. You gotta kill someone without anyone else finding out you did it.
But we don't go to class trials in this story. Monokuma talked about his horrible graduation program with casual indifference, but because the killing hadn't happened yet, his lecture didn't instill any despair in the students. As long as the killing never occurred, there'd be no point to the class trial, but no one could really say that a killing wasn't going to happen. As the students' suspicions began to rise, Monokuma continued explaining the class trial until...
Wait, hold on a second.
Who dat? As Monokuma began to explain the executions that would serve as punishment, one girl stepped forward.
Junko?
Junko, no! Don't do it, Junko! As soon as he saw how angry she was, the rhythm of
You're
Makoto's
freaking
headache...
insane. You know that?
The girl continued to complain angrily. She seemed completely different from the smiling person Makoto saw in the nurse's office.
Was Junko always like that? No, she's
Uh-oh.
different. That's how Junko acts, but is that person really Junko?
Is that the real Junko?
What am I thinking?
Figure it out, Makoto. As Makoto struggled with his headache and confusion, Monokuma and the girl continued to argue.
Are you saying you're not gonna participate in the trial? Only
No.
punishment awaits such blasphemy.
What? Punishment?
I might, I don't know, throw you into a deep, dark, scary prison or something.
Different.
Uh-oh. The strange feeling he felt was now directed at Monokuma.
A prison? No. They aren't that kind.
A series of images flashed in Makoto's mind, and at first he thought it was some kind of parade, but he quickly realized that it was a mistake. Oh, this is the part that got animated. What looks like lights were actually buildings engulfed in flames. The red decorating the scene seemed to have come from human bodies. Despair. It wasn't confined to the academy or even to Japan. Images of worldwide death and destruction flooded Makoto's brain with every throb of his headache.
Seen this before?
Besides the indescribable violence taking place in all these images, there was one thing they had in common.
Are they? There.
Rampaging terrorists wearing black and white masks were wreaking havoc in these images. They took everything: money, valuables, lives, families, dignity, the past, the future, and possibly even hope. The masks these terrorists were wearing perfectly ensemble or resembled the face of the stuffed animal arguing with the...
Say whatever you want. I'm not gonna be a part of this.
Don't be so selfish.
You're the one being selfish. Kill whoever you want. It's got nothing to do with me.
The evil standing here before me. I'm trembling with fear, but I won't give in to such evil. It's my style to stick it out and resist to the very end. If you really want to get out of here, you'll have to go through me first.
Monokuma swung his arms wildly as he charged at the girl with waddling steps. Oh no! Oh, get stomped on! But the girl stomped on the self-proclaimed headmaster of the academy with
Are you
ease.
enjoying yourself now?
Pinned beneath the girl's foot, Monokuma looked up into the girl's cold eyes and calmly asked,
Are you?
Huh?
"Uh-oh."
Violence against Headmaster Monokuma is not allowed. You violated a school regulation.
Uh-oh. At that moment, a chill ran down Makoto's spine.
She's going to get killed.
Monokuma's words sounded very threatening to him. It wasn't a prediction or a guess. It was as if he knew the danger Monokuma posed from the start.
If this continues, Junko's going to...
Die! His mind still didn't fully grasp the situation unfolding in front of him. By the time he realized he was about to remember something, he was already running forward.
Junko?
The impact of his feet combined with the rhythm of his headache, sending his brain and heart into a panic.
No. She's different. She's...
I invoke the mighty summon spell. Help to me, godly spear god near.
Oh no! Monokuma wiggled beneath the girl's foot and let out a scream. At the exact moment, Monokuma charged at her, or Makoto charged at her.
Watch out!
Huh?
Uh-oh, the girl dressed as Junko Enoshima widened her eyes in shock. As if to evade the charging Monokuma, she jumped back with agility. Oh my god, she flew! She didn't jump back, she flew! She turned into the Powerpuff Girls and flew into the freaking ceiling. And then right at the moment, countless spears pierced the spot where she had been standing just a split second ago. All the students, including the girl, stared wide-eyed at this sudden turn of events. Spears, too many of them to count, had shot out with blinding speed from mechanism installed in the floor and walls of the gym. However, Makoto was unable to notice this.
Why did I call Junko Mukuro?
Uh-oh.
Mukuro?
As that thought entered his mind, a sharp, sudden impact struck his side, followed by an intense, deathly pain that ran down his spine and spread throughout his entire body. The spear stabbed him to his side, instantly tore his flesh to shreds, and shot out his back, coated in blood and other bodily fluids. Oh my god. And at that moment, the black fog that had engulfed Makoto's mind was consumed by death itself. And as consciousness slowly faded, he remembered everything. Because of this electric jolt and the chemical compound from the escape button, because of that button that he had found by chance, Makoto Naagi managed to escape. He escaped his hopeless game where he and his fellow students had their memories stolen and were forced to kill each other. Of course, that escape is also what led him to his current life or death predicament. Look at those donuts! God, I want some Krispy Kreme right now! In the end, perhaps he only escaped from one despair to fall into another. But at the same time, his actions had unintended consequences for one person. The girl living a false identity as her beloved little sister, Junko Enoshima, Mukuro Ikasaba, the ultimate soldier and a member of Ultimate Despair. Her past, her future, perhaps even her hope itself are on the path to despair. And so, the curtain falls on Makoto's story for now. From this point, the story is about a certain girl. A girl who's more pitiful than anyone else in this ealed-off academy. And that's where part 2 happens, and that's where we're going to watch part 2. A new curtain along with new despair shall now rise. Time had certainly stopped for Mukuro Ikasaba. It was as if everything around her had frozen perfectly still. In the past, she was known as the ultimate soldier. Does she have sprites in this, or are they just going to use the Junko sprites? Like they did in Danganronpa S. She had experienced this feeling before during her time with the mercenary group, Finrare. In situations where she was surrounded by a hopeless number of enemies within the jungle or in a desert ruin, the charging enemies seemed as though they were frozen in time, which allowed her to claim a decisive victory in all her battles. If is canon, technically? Really? I didn't know that. But this wasn't a battlefield, so why does this familiar sensation activate once again? In order to understand what had happened, Mukuro slowly tried to assess the current situation from within this frozen world. Junko and Mukuro are both children of despair, but Junko Enoshima, the true despair, harbors a far deeper darkness within her. Though their last names are different, Mukuro is Junko's older sister connected by the bonds of blood. Okay, alright, so for everybody that knows like Danganronpa lore like the back of their hand, right? Why do they have different names? Did they ever explain that in the series? If isn't canon? Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I'm not sure if it's canon. I mean, it's official though, but it's not technically like canon to the story. Yeah. I have no clue. Nope, they never explained it. She cooperated with Junko's hopeless plan and impersonated her under the pretense of participating in the killing game alongside her classmates. Adoption? That would make sense. According to the plan, Mukuro was supposed to oppose Monokuma, who her sister was controlling, and be locked in a dungeon as punishment. Isolated from the others, she would then escape the dungeon and perform various acts intended to deprive the students of hope. I know what that is. I know this place. Very familiar. That was the role she had been assigned. When Makoto succumbed to his headache, Junko ordered her to see if the shock had caused him to remember anything. He woke up as she was tending to him, so she made small talk with him, but she didn't notice any change in his demeanor? Behavior? Until this point, she was certain that there shouldn't be any more problems. Nothing could possibly go wrong. She stomped on Monokuma like her sister ordered her to do, and flawlessly spoke the lines she was taught to memorize. Afterwards, she would fall through a trapdoor into the dungeon and remain isolated from the others. That was her role. She hasn't done anything wrong.
There were no problems.
The Danganronpa wiki has all the answers. Makes sense. She repeated that to herself over and over like a silent prayer, but in that frozen moment in time, when she saw Well, it was not a trapdoor, but countless spears. One of them had skewered Makoto through his side.
Makoto? Why are there spears? Gungnir? I would have died if I hadn't moved.
You would have been dead.
Did Junko mess up the plan? No, Junko would never mess up. Was she trying to kill me? Me? Makoto saved me. Why? Why did he say my name? Did his memories come back? Did I not realize that? Did I make a mistake? Is that why Junko got angry? Is this punishment? Is this my fault? Junko tried to kill me. Kill me.
My God, so many questions. How many questions is she gonna ask? Slowly, time came back to her world. Muko could feel her face turning pale as she slowly moved toward Makoto. The students' screams rang throughout the gym. Sayaka was probably the first one to scream. But who screamed first didn't matter to Mukuro.
Why?
Makoto was the ultimate lucky student. He had been her classmate for the past 2 years now, and he was a sacrifice to despair. Not long ago, he had given her an answer of sorts during their conversation in the nurse's office. He was just a pawn in the plan her sister had devised, but now a feeling of doubt began forming in Mukuro's mind.
What did I want from Makoto?
As her heart churned restlessly, she continued to think.
In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. Was I impersonating Junko then? Or did I really mean that? When did I start feeling this doubt? Just now, at the moment he saved me? Or when he spoke in the nurse's office earlier? Or when I first confronted him about this killing game before his memories returned? Or was it before even that?
Mukuro stood there, confused and overwhelmed, as Makoto slowly opened his eyes, the spear still impaling him through the side. Jeez.
Makoto, are you okay?
Mukuro was no longer impersonating the ultimate fashionista. You know, that's the most anime thing you've ever seen in your life, right? This man is impaled with so many spears, and he still wakes up like, hey, Mukuro? Like, what?
Are you okay?
You should be dead. Mukuro was no longer impersonating the ultimate fashionista. Looking up from the floor of the gym, Makoto asked,
Why are you dressed up like Junko?
He was smiling. Maybe he couldn't feel the pain anymore, or maybe he was being affected by something else. But regardless, Makoto ignored the fact that he was dying just to give Mukuro his warm smile.
I'm glad.
The power of hope!
You're safe, Mukuro.
As soon as she heard Makoto's weak, fanning voice, something inside Mukuro snapped. From within the shell of despair she has built up, an intense emotion began flowing out.
This is all wrong.
She couldn't hold back that emotion any longer.
No.
Is she about to scream? And for the first time in her entire life, Mukuro unleashed a scream into the world. Whoa! That was intense! That was freaking intense! As Mukuro fell to her knees and clutched her head, a small shadow started walking toward her back. The stuffed animal had been under her foot. Monokuma. His claws were extended and he was no longer walking with his usual waddle. That scream is intense. Instead, he moved like a bee, silently stalking its prey as he slowly advanced within his target's blind spot. As he inched closer to Mukuro, Monokuma raised his razor-sharp claws, crouched on his haunches, and suddenly leapt toward the back of her neck. However, just before those claws could reach the paralyzed Mukuro. Oh! Get wrecked! Get wrecked! Sakura, out of nowhere, destroyed Monokuma! A dark shadow moved in from the side and swatted those claws away with one blow. His lunge deflected. Monokuma was sent flying through the air, spinning wildly before crashing into the holy crap!
Damn you. What are you trying to do?
Sakura Ogami, the ultimate martial artist, had just prevented another tragedy. She stood there before Monokuma and addressed him in a loud, booming voice.
You attempt to kill Junko for violating school regulations. You even attacked Makoto, who had nothing to do with this.
That sounds...
If you plan to continue acting in such a savage manner, there is no reason for us to play along with your game.
That sounds very close to how Sakura sounded in the game. Togami, the ultimate affluent progeny, smirked condescendingly at Sakura.
One could say you've now violated school regulations with your senseless actions.
He looked as if he honestly didn't care if his fellow students lived or died.
She merely deflected the headmaster's attack just now, so I do not think it truly counts as an act of violence.
Like Byakuya, Celeste seemed unfazed as she chided him. However, the banter between the two was enough to stir the stunned students to action. Saika was the first one to run toward Makoto, who lay bleeding from his stomach. But Monokuma stopped her, shouting in a tone of voice that seemed completely out of character.
Be careful! Don't get too close to those two!
Huh?
Startled by Monokuma's desperate tone, Sayaka and the others stopped moving almost instinctively. The students looked around at each other. Uh-oh. Instead of his usual playful gait, Monokuma walked toward them with deliberate, methodical steps, and then he suddenly blurted out something that took everyone, including Mukuro Ikasawa, by surprise.
I'm sure you're probably confused by this sudden turn of events, but I want you guys to work together.
Work together? As Mukuro slowly turned her head toward Monokuma, he pointed at her and yelled,
Kusaba and her accomplice Makoto Naegi are the terrorists responsible for locking you all inside the academy.
Oh! Once again, time stopped for Mukuro. But this time, she wasn't the only one affected. Okay, the jig is up. It's up. That's not good. Everyone seemed to be frozen in shock. After a few seconds of silence, Asahina, the ultimate swimming pro, spoke first. Hey, shouts out the pancake roll!
You're kidding, right? I mean, Makoto's a terrorist? That's impossible, and...
Oh my god! Shouts out the pancake roll. Thank you for the 30. Hi. Have a good day, bestie. And I just wanted to say, Asahina's voice here, fantastic.
You're kidding, right? I mean, Makoto's a terrorist?
Fantastic.
That's impossible, and who's Mukuro anyway? I mean, that's Junko.
Monokuma began slowly explaining to Aoi.
Real Junko must be imprisoned somewhere in this school. Worst case scenario, she might be killed.
I'm simping?
Mukuro
Yes.
must have researched which one of you would be easiest for her to impersonate and hid among you all by pretending to be her. She was probably trying to make sure the killing game went smoothly.
Suddenly, Monokuma's hands and feet began jerking in an awkward motion as he looked at the other students and introduced himself. Wait, what? What's going on with Monokuma?
I'm Beshiki Madurai, the ultimate hacker. I'm your upperclassman. I hacked into the academy from the outside, and I was finally able to take control of Monokuma's body just a little while ago.
Wait. That name drop. Go back. Beshiki Madurai. Isn't that from Zero? Isn't that a character from Zero? But isn't he? He is lying though.
Monokuma's body just a little while ago.
Take control? From who?
From the head of the terrorist organization that's controlling this robot from the outside.
What? What are you saying, Junko?
Mukuro trembled as she heard the words coming out of Monokuma's mouth. For a brief moment, she clung to the hope that her sister wasn't trying to kill her, but as soon as that hope was born, it was immediately consumed by despair. Junko had the power to transform hope into despair. She would never let anyone hack her that easily. There's only one explanation. Junko no Ishima was pretending to be someone named Bashiki in order to frame Mukuro and Makoto. It was as though Junko was using Mukuro's survival as a branching path to lead the students to a different despair. Monokuma continued talking, telling the students more lies designed to prod them to action. See, that's what I like about these, right? Like, they're making reference to Zero here, and I think that's really cool that, you know, like, Kodaka didn't forget like any bit of his writing, you know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about Kingdom Hearts, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Nomura isn't good with that, so it's nice to see a writer being somewhat consistent. Somewhat.
First day at Hope's Peak Academy, you guys were exposed to sleeping gas, knocked unconscious, and taken hostage. Mukuro and Makoto are probably the only operatives that the terrorists sent inside the school.
Madurai is absolutely awful. I know, right?
From here.
And then Monokuma turned to face Mukuro.
Mukuro Ikusaba was a member of a mercenary group called Fenrir. She's a wanted criminal who's killed over 10 people associated with the school. So don't get soft and think you can capture her alive. In fact, that's exactly what the cops told me. So the moment I saw an opening, I tried hacking the trap they set and tried to kill her.
The cops?
But what about Makoto?
Monokuma gave a cold, emotionless answer to Sayaka's question.
My guess is that a measly little ultimate lucky student didn't stand a chance of defying a group like Fenrir. He was probably threatened and forced to cooperate before you entered the school. Or, judging from his earlier actions, maybe Mukuro seduced him.
If anything, it's the opposite with Kingdom Hearts. Everything matters. True. Take that back, Blaze. I'm just saying, Kingdom Hearts is like, stop that. No Kingdom Hearts slander. Harsh truths during its anniversary week, Blaze. It is Kingdom Hearts' anniversary this week, but let's be honest, y'all. That Kingdom Hearts story is... yeah, it's doo-doo. Like, it's pretty bad. I don't know if anyone's a Kingdom Hearts fan here, but it's pretty bad. Sayaka's face went pale when she heard that answer and immediately stopped talking. Mukuro raised her hand and shouted,
Makoto isn't a terrorist! You all have to believe me!
The whole gym fell silent, and then, as if he was speaking for everyone there, Taka stepped forward and nervously asked,
Well, hold on. What do you mean, Makoto isn't a terrorist? It sounds like you're saying that there's no doubt that you, in fact, are a terrorist. I ask that you correct yourself at once and say, we are not terrorists.
Let's begin expressing her own doubts as well.
It is strange. Does it not seem odd that she is so protective of someone we all just met a few days ago?
Mukuro stood in silence. The other students' faces began to fill with suspicion as now as they realized they weren't looking at the real Junko Noshima. Uyaka pushed up his glasses and began coldly pointing out what seemed out of place to him. Keep my games names out your... I'm losing subs? Well, I'm not sorry because I'm just being honest because that's my opinion on Kingdom Hearts. I think Kingdom Hearts' story is pretty trash. I love the games. I grew up with the games. You know, it's one of my favorite game series. It was one of the games I first played on my channel before Danganronpa and everything else. I don't like the story of Kingdom Hearts. It is too complicated, in my opinion. There's way too much going on in it, and now they're dealing with time and stuff, and it's a lot. I don't like that.
I heard that fool Makoto, or whatever his name is, call you Mukuro.
Place your hate on Madurai? Okay.
How would Makoto
I'll do that.
His name is really Mukuro if he just met you not that long ago?
That's...
I've also heard of Fenrir. As I recall, its members have a tattoo somewhere on their body.
Instinctively, Togami's words put Mukuro into a calm state of mind. In a hostile situations, her defensive reflexes as the ultimate soldier often manifested themselves. Mukuro's tattoo was on the back of her right hand. She wondered how she could hide this from the other students without also calling attention to it. But in the end, this concern was in vain.
If the police records are true, she should have a tattoo on the back of her right hand.
Is it like covered with makeup or something? As Monokuma freely divulged that information. Cried Taka, his voice filled with enthusiasm.
Show us the back of your right hand and prove your innocence.
This man is too hype. Monokuma dispensed another unnecessary remark.
Sure, you look real close. She might have covered it up with foundation.
Junko had ordered Mukuro to hide her tattoo with foundation, so Monokuma's information was entirely true. There was nothing Mukuro could do except stay quiet. However, she wasn't staying quiet because her identity was about to be exposed. She was struck by the realization that her sister was completely serious about pinning this on her. That's so messed up!
Why the hesitation?
She shouted that foolishly honest, Taka.
I have complete faith in you.
From behind him, Fumi Yamada, the ultimate fanfic creator, murmured to himself as the cold sweat ran down his cheek.
Well, look at that. I guess this is what they call a checkmate, huh?
Why
don't you just fess up already, you fucking bastard?
Oh, the mono voice is awesome. I love the mono voice. Oh my god, but Hifumi's voice though, y'all. Can we go back on that?
Well, look at that. I guess this is what they call a checkmate, huh?
I love it.
Why don't you just fess up already, you
well,
fucking
look
bastard?
at that. In contrast to Hifumi, Amando Iwata, the ultimate biker gang leader, was royally pissed. Oh, however, there were some students who were busy questioning Monokuma instead of Mukuro.
Not coming to save us?
Shot at Leon Kuwata, the ultimate baseball star.
Hurry up and charge in here already.
Monokuma looked at Leon and shook his head softly.
The police can't help you right now.
The mono
All
voice.
you guys hostages. It's possible that the entire school has been rigged with explosives and poisonous gas. I hacked into this Monokuma robot to investigate that for myself.
Hi, Natalie.
And what about everyone on that DVD? What about everyone outside the school?
Asked Sayaka. Remember the DVD she was forced to watch yesterday still weighed heavily on her mind, but Monokuma didn't have a clear answer.
I don't know anything about any DVDs, but there are definitely terrorists causing havoc out there.
Those darn terrorists.
The world is in shambles trying to deal with this.
That's impossible.
Sayaka shuddered and collapsed to her knees. Oh my god. Oh wait, go back. Chihiro, I didn't hear your voice.
Sayaka.
Aw. Next to her, Chihiro Fujisaki, the ultimate programmer, was unsure about what she should do. Behind her, two other girls stood silently. Toko! The first one was Toko Fukawa, the ultimate writing prodigy. She seemed to be trying very hard to not look at Makoto as he lay bleeding. The other was a quiet girl who hadn't talked about herself much, named Kyoko Kirigiri. Unlike Toko, Kyoko was watching everything intently as if she were studying the scene of a crime. From Makoto's breathing patterns to subtle changes in Mukuro's facial expressions, nothing was escaping her attention.
So anyway, let's just say that Mukuro woman or whoever is a terrorist. Hurry up and beat her to death or something!
Don't know that yet.
Is that Wubcake? Because Wubcake is like one of the best Toko voice actors of all time. Wubcake is amazing. said Sakura.
Do not mete out justice based on simple speculation.
Sakura tried to get near Makoto to examine his wounds, but Monokuma stood in her way shouting. This meant that Mukuro was the only one who could get close to Makoto. She had ended countless lives on the battlefield. She knew from experience. If she didn't treat Makoto's wounds, he would die. His wounds were not immediately fatal, but if he continued losing blood, he would eventually slip into shock and die shortly thereafter. Let me look real quick. Let me look. Toko. No, Toko's actually by someone else. Lynn's. I've never heard of her, but she's really good. She's pretty spot on. His wounds were not immediately fatal.
Treat Makoto first.
Absolutely not.
Said Togami, harshly interrupting
Tying you
Mukuro.
up and examining the back of your right hand is our first priority.
Why?
Hey! Makoto's in danger!
Right.
Now's not the time for that!
No! Said Aoi as she cast worried glance at Makoto. She was still having trouble understanding the situation and hadn't decided if Makoto was suspicious or not. Togami was about to snap back at her, but Mukuro's actions stunned him into silence. She took a deep breath and then Mukuro removed the blonde wig from her head. Ah, we have sprites! Whoa! There were two long blonde pigtails only a moment before. There was now short black hair. She cleared her face of all emotion, and when she spoke, her voice rang throughout the gym.
My name is Mukuro Kusaba.
I'm so happy to see her like that. The student stared wide-eyed at her own open confession. All she did was remove her wig and clear her emotions, but in doing so, the person the students had recognized as Junko Noshima vanished from their sight. The terrorist that had taken her place continued to speak in a calm, stoic tone.
Everyone inside this academy.
The confession on a seaside cliff moment has finally arrived.
Ifumi blurted out.
What? Wigs are against school regulations, Junko! I mean, Mukuro?
Shouted Taka, as if stirred by their cries of excitement. The other students began clamoring among themselves.
Huh? So Makoto's wounds are, like, real? Does that mean that stuff about terrorists and whatever is all real too? So everything that's happened these past few days wasn't a bunch of staged events?
Yo, Hagakure is literally us the other day when we saw Will Smith slap Chris Rock at the Oscars. Wait, that was real? No one thought it was real.
It wasn't a bunch of staged events?
As the reality of the situation began dawning on Yasuhiro, all Leon could say to him was, Byakuya just remained calm and addressed Mukuro in a condescending manner.
What does your group want? If you were after money, you would have already tried to negotiate with me.
No, Blaze, stop. I'm sorry.
I'd rather let them die than surrender to your ransom demands.
Our purpose is to fill the world with despair.
Togami scoffed at this notion and began to speak once again.
I see. Monokuma said something similar. So that ideology is what fuels your terrorism. It's true. If you did anything to me, you certainly would fill the world with despair. But obviously, that would be impossible for you.
Aoi couldn't believe what Byakuya was saying and frowned as she muttered.
Centered can you be?
After confirming that Togami had no questions for her, Mukuro looked at Makoto, whose breathing had slowed and let her voice show some emotion.
Makoto has nothing to do with this. You can't believe what Monokuma says.
What did you say, bitch?
Oh, let's
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a terrorist, just like Monokuma said.
Calm down, Mondo. Mukuro looked away from Mondo and continued speaking.
That's true, but Makoto isn't involved at all.
What's up, Zimmy? Celeste coldly brushed her objection aside.
I don't think trying to protect him will do any good. After all, we all heard Makoto call you by your real name.
That's...
She had no words. There was nothing she could say to protect Makoto, even though Makoto was truly innocent. Though Mukuro was the ultimate soldier, her powers were largely limited to battle. Even a normal high school student could outwit her when it comes to debate and negotiation. If she were the ultimate negotiator, she might be able to convince them that their memories had really been erased. But in the current situation, if she tried to bring up their memory loss, they would think it was a desperate excuse. Even Mukuro knew that, but even if she didn't know what to say, she still knew what to do.
We need to treat Makoto first.
I never thought I would hear Mondo call a woman a I didn't think so either. Like, that was, whoa, that was very mean.
Right now, we need to treat Makoto first.
And then she started walking toward Makoto as if nothing had happened. To the others, it seemed like Mukuro had decided to abruptly change the subject.
Hold it. We will immediately take Makoto to the nurse's office for treatment. However, we must tie you up.
This was Sakura's honest demand, but there was no way Mukuro could accept it. If she was separated from Makoto, there'd be no telling what Monokuma would do to him. In between Mondo's hot temper and Togumi's cold heart, Makoto could easily sustain further injuries under the pretense of interrogation. Furthermore, among these students, Mukuro knew she was the only one who had experience treating wounds due to her time with... Okay, here's my thing about this, right? Here's my thing about this. It's like, here we are doing all this arguing and thinking and all this monologue and crap. And this poor boy is over here dying. Like, man's over here bleeding out. And everyone's just like, After mulling that over, she narrowed her eyes and went silent. Her mind was made up. She was determined to fight her way out of here and escape with Makoto.
Apologize, but I need you to fall asleep right now.
She said that Sakura instantly positioned herself behind Mukuro. Wait, what? She was completely within her blind spot. To a normal person, it would have seemed like Sakura had suddenly vanished. After moving faster than any human being could see, Sakura's equally fast hands launched a blow toward the back of Mukuro's neck. Jeez!
Sorry, Sakura, but I need to get out of here.
That hand was huge. Mukuro parried Sakura's fist. Oh my god, dude, she literally slapped that fist away. She parried that junk like it was Dark Souls. Sakura raised an eyebrow at the unexpected counterattack. Mukuro tried to use the momentum of her kick to sweep Sakura's feet out from under her. However, Sakura dodged and instinctively struck back against Mukuro's pivot leg. But Mukuro was faster and jumped up, aiming a tornado kick at Sakura's chin. Sakura deflected the attack with one arm, then both combatants leaped backwards, glared, and charged simultaneously. Every blow they dealt was parried and countered by the other, and though they were both unarmed, the sound of their battle echoed throughout the gym. It was like a typhoon had been compressed to the size of a car and set it loose inside the gym. The other students were powerless to stop them. All they could do was stare at the breathtaking dance of death unfolding before them. After 10 minutes had passed, the enormous sound of one final impact rang throughout the gym. Dude, I love how they have the Dragon Ball Z sound effects. Because that's how it feels right now. That's how it would really go down. Is like, this is like a Dragon Ball Z battle. The two warriors leapt back once again and breathed heavily as they stared each other down.
My mistake. Though it's only been a few
Top
days,
10 anime battles, right?
I did not notice such an impressive fighter was hiding among us.
In addition to the surprise Sakura felt, it was as if the battle had left her energized. Mukuro, on the other hand, looked down at her arm, confirmed it had been wounded during the battle, and thought to herself,
She's strong. I don't think Sakura is even taking this seriously right now.
Despite being constantly surrounded by firearms, blades, traps, and explosives during her time with Fenrir, this was the first time she had ever been wounded. Mukuro was powerless before the might of the woman known as the ultimate martial artist and the strongest woman in the world.
Just as I thought. I can't beat Sakura with my bare hands alone.
If she had been directly ordered to kill Sakura, Mukuro could have opted to either snipe her. Nah, we don't bring guns into a fist fight. Come on now, Mukuro, from a distance, or poison her. Oh god, poison her. Don't do that. At this close range, she would need an assault rifle just to stand a fighting chance.
I don't have time for this.
She looked at Makoto and confirmed that his breathing had grown even shallower.
I need to hurry.
But at this moment, she had no one to turn to for help. Suddenly, Mukuro had an idea. It was true that gaining an ally in this situation was impossible. However, she could still turn one person to her enemy's enemy. Mukuro took a deep breath before she charged at Sakura. Then she immediately fainted and charged at a different girl, Toko, who had been cowering in fear from the battle between Sakura and Mukuro in the corner of the gym. Wait, what?
This is bad.
Oh no! Sakura was caught off guard and tried to run after her, but Mukuro was one step ahead and reached Toko first. Wait, don't do anything to Toko!
Why me?
I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on.
Oh! Mukuro jabbed Toko in her solar plexus and she fell into her arms. Taka and Aoi yelled out in shock.
Bad. She plans to use Toko as a hostage!
Oh my god! In contrast to their shocked faces, Togumi just snickered and coldly remarked,
Do you really think we care if you take someone we just met a few days ago as your hostage?
That's so messed up! Mukuro just softly glanced at Togumi.
Her a few days ago.
What did you say?
You met her 2 years ago.
Fuyakio scowled. Mukuro ignored him and held her bloody arm in front of Toko's face. Just the arm coming in like that was perfect. I love that, right here. Oh my god. And then she yelled into her ears.
Wake up, Genocide Jack.
Oh crap. It seems so random and out of place. Why would Mukuro mention the name of a notorious serial killer right now? Students looked at each other with confusion when suddenly Toko, who had been groaning in pain, suddenly kicked out of the floor of the gym with renewed vigor. She leapt into the air much higher than any normal human would. While hovering several meters in midair, Toko twirled faster than a professional figure skater. This caused her skirt to flutter, revealing multiple pairs of sparkling scissors. Countless tally marks were stretched into her legs like a kill count carved into a fighter jet. If not for the situation, Toko's glamorous jumps and spins would have been a sight to behold. The girl formerly known as Toko Fukawa cacked wildly, her red eyes sparkling as her absurdly long tongue flopped out of her mouth.
I've got a murder IOU for YOU!
I love this! The situation had changed so drastically that even Sayako, who was silent until now, spoke up. Tony Hawk wishes!
Don't treat Genocide Jack like that depressing little four eyes. That dirty girl doesn't bathe herself at all. So
Ew.
I'm gonna put in 5 times the effort to rub myself down in the shower.
Excuse me? Never mind. Just forget it. Toko's sudden change in personality set the students clamoring around themselves.
What the hell does that mean?
Monokuma just shook his
There are
head.
some things even I don't understand.
The students continued to panic at the strange turn of events. Yeah, I forgot about that. Like, we ain't washing ourselves out here. Togumi, this your girl. Togumi, this your girl. Toko, now calling herself Genocide Jack, took out a pair of scissors from under her skirt and snipped them with glee as she looked around the gym.
Huh? Man, it's been a while since I got to stretch my legs. So what were you guys gonna do here at the gym while I was snoozing away? Have an orgy? I understand. I totally understand. You guys need me to cut up your clothes so you can feel even naughtier. Yeah, right! Why the hell would I do that for you dumbasses? My scissors are only meant for cutting the supple, tender flesh of adorable boys.
Genocide Jack was causing a ruckus, but when she saw Makoto laying on the floor, she tilted her head back.
Mac, you're like totally about to die.
Big Mac!
What's the deal? Did the world fill you with so much despair that you all came here to commit mass suicide? That's so odd. But why are you starting without me?
Toko? Get a hold of yourself!
She called this man Big Mac!
Get a hold of yourself!
Genocide Jack ignored Aoi and let her emotions run unchecked, jumping and dancing with excitement as she held her scissors.
Oh, jeez. I wanted to stab Big Mac's side myself. This side right here, where the ribs are kind of showing already.
Oh my god, not the McRibs!
Right now, though, what does that mean? Oh, well, maybe I can just get used to this feeling of alienation instead.
Don't stab Big Mac in the McRibs!
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
I don't either.
This is all the aliens' fault.
Not the aliens. Satoru buried his head into his arms, but no one was paying attention to him. The students' attention was entirely focused on Genocide Jack. What's up, Robert? Using that to her advantage, Mukuro began sneaking over to Makoto. As she cautiously picked him up, she confirmed that his body temperature was starting to decrease.
I can still make it there in time.
Welcome to McJunkos. Go ahead with your order.
Make it there in time.
Yo, this chat. Though she was carrying another person, Mukuro managed to soften the sound of her footsteps as she ran for the gym's doors. By the time the students heard Mukuro open the door, it was already too late. She had managed to escape the gym. However, not everyone was unaware of what Mukuro was doing. Monokuma saw her movements out of the corner of his eye, but chose not to tell the students. And one other person, Kyoko Kirigiri. Oh my god. She saw Mukuro carry Makoto away, but did not inform the others as she watched them leave in silence. As everyone wrestled with her own personal thoughts and speculations, Host Peak Academy began walking in path toward a complete different chaos. With Makoto on her back, Mukuro took several trophies from the gym entrance hall, and after passing through the doors leading to the hallway, oh, is she gonna lock it? She jammed the trophies through the door handles, yep. Though Sakura could easily destroy these makeshift locks, they should buy Mukuro some time. Then Mukuro started running to the nurse's office, the place she last spoke to Makoto. Everything necessary for performing first aid could be found there. Her little sister was her enemy. Her fellow ultimate students were her enemy. Her only ally right now was Makoto, who was on the verge of death. Mukuro knew that even she wasn't on her own ally right now. Amidst all this chaos, amidst her sister's betrayal and nearly being killed, she believed she was the only one who truly understood her little sister. That's why she felt like she had to protect her.
That's right. You didn't do anything wrong, Junko.
Yes, she did.
You just wanted to feel despair. That's all, right?
Yeah, that's the wrong
Because
thing.
you love me,
Oh God.
That's why you wanted to kill me. You were just trying to feel despair, right?
Oh!
I'm sorry I failed to bring you despair.
But at the same time, she wondered, if she saves Makoto and betrays her sister by disrupting her plan, wouldn't that fill her with an even stronger despair? Wouldn't that make her happy?
Betray Junko? What should I do?
Mukuro, honey, I know, right? Mukuro closed her eyes and listened to Makoto's weak.
Makoto.
On a battlefield where all you need to do is kill and survive, Mukuro was invincible. She could suppress all her emotions and fully immerse herself in becoming a perfect killing machine. But on this twisted battlefield of a daily high school life, she could no longer keep her emotions in check, especially around her little sister. Mukuro, the ultimate soldier, was beginning to question being ultimate despair. The impulses of the normal high school girl inside her were starting to affect her state of mind. Even so, the poor girl continued to run through the dark hallways, clinging to this conflict within herself. Toxic, toxic, it is toxic! She was now walking along a narrow hair thing path. A path between the hope of Makoto Naagi and the despair of Junko Enoshima. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, everyone still in the gym was left in a state of complete confusion. Toko was famous for being a prolific author, but even though she came across as unsociable and depressing, her mind-blowing transformation seemed to have just tossed all that aside.
Is Genocide Jack?
Sayaka trembled with fear as Jack tilted her head and stuck out her long tongue.
What's with this reception, you guys? You guys didn't know who I was? Have I been found out? Or have you known all along? And why was the sullen samurai dressed like that? That outfit didn't look good on her at all.
The sullen samurai was probably referring to Mukuro, which means Toko already knew Mukuro in advance. Confronted by that shocking truth, the students had no idea where to begin talking, so many things were clearly wrong by this point. There were a few students, such as Togami and Kyoko, who opted to remain calm and observe the situation.
Alright, someone better spill it. Who gave Makoto an extra mouth to feed? I don't care if you want to stab him or slice him. I just can't forgive whoever put that ugly asshole in Big Mac's side.
Toko, no. Genocide Jack spun her scissors in her hands. As she spoke, her emotions and facial expressions constantly changed. Even without the threat of her scissors, she exuded an aura. Wait, an aura of danger that made her unapproachable.
The flank steak of a young boy like macaroons is a bluebird that pops out a golden egg.
Wait, what?
If you just let me handle it, I would have killed him so good. But even Needle and Teedle would be eager to die. But poor McCutie's heart and soul have been stomped on by such a sloppy kill. That actually sounds pretty exciting too, but I decline.
I love her.
You're not making any sense. What in the world happened to you?
Genocide Jack answered by pointing her sister at Aoi.
To me, I got bored, that's what. That sourpuss locked me up a few days ago, but when she went unconscious, I thought I'd finally get to do my thing. But I woke up for all this. My cutie's soaked with blood and I got no clue what's going on. It's so damn confusing. All I can do is laugh.
She's crazy. No one seemed to be able to get a straight answer out of Jack, so Hifumi made a timid remark.
I've dealt with girls like these in my 2D dating games, but this doesn't even compare. It's like there's a triple S difficulty level to clear her.
Stop it. Get some help.
That's what we say in this situation right now? Okay, Hifumi.
I can't believe you'd even think about her as someone worth clearing.
Right! She's dirty! It was clear that things were going nowhere. As if she were responding to everyone else's expectations, Sakura stepped forward.
She might be in the throes of confusion. I should try to
Her laugh is really good. As soon as she heard that, Genocide Jack stopped moving, stuck out her lizard-like tongue, and grinned wickedly.
What's up? Are you really gonna fight me, Battle Ogre? Too bad. My lovely scissors are only for cutting through adorable boys. Women should just stay home. I won't taint my scissors with your filthy blood.
Dang, replied Sakura.
My words are useless on you.
Sakura entered a fighter's stance, determined to restrain Jack, but Jack knew she couldn't win in a fair fight and adopted a strange stance of her own. In a normal fight, Jack would obviously lose to the ogre, but Jack focused just on dodging attacks. The outcome of the fight would be hard to foresee. Of course, Genocide Jack's physical abilities were only obvious to a few of the students in the first place. The two women exchanged hostile stares as the other students gulped nervously and watched. Except for one person. Kyoko was watching something else. She was watching Monokuma, who was in the corner of the gym, unmoving as white noise emitted from his speakers. Oh, that's weird. He had stopped moving the moment everyone's attention focused on Sakura and Toko. It's possible that motorized hacking had been disrupted, but an infinite number of other possibilities were also swirling around in Kyoko's mind. She's gonna figure it out. She brushed back her hair with a gloved hand and continued to watch. Though she couldn't fully remember her talent, the actions she was taking right now were fueled by pure instinct. The strange situations that kept occurring in front of her were shaking her to her very core. Her mind worked diligently to scoop up countless amounts of information from her vast sea of memories, and as they were synchronizing with the synapses, Sakura and Toko kicked off of the ground at the same time, and an intense impact rang throughout the gym. Jeez, these fools are fighting! Sakura versus Toko? Hey, if you saw that Toko death battle that I watched like a while back on my channel, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, Toko can fight. That girl be everywhere. Well, Genocide Jack, not really Toko, but geez. I mean, even if you play UDG, she's crazy. Hold up. Wubcake did do the voice of Genocide Jack, though. Not Toko. Toko was Lynn's, but Genocide Jack was Wubcake. And she also did Celestia. Wow. Wubcake's amazing, though. Wubcake is amazing. They have to be probably the best Genocide Jack / Toko voice actor I've ever seen, next to the actual voice actor. I loved the death battle. Yeah, that death battle was cool. Thanks to the heated battle that was unfolding in the gymnasium, Mukuro Ikasawa was able to buy more time than she had imagined. As soon as she entered the nurse's office, she rummaged around for medical supplies and did what she could to stop the bleeding. Oh yeah, you saw the Weeby video? Though still quite shallow, Makoto's breathing slowly stabilized. Mukuro let out a little sigh of relief. However, even though she was somehow able to stop the bleeding, she wasn't out of the woods yet. Miraculously enough, it seemed like none of Makoto's major arteries or organs were damaged. Really? Oh, because he's lucky. Duh. Was this perhaps thanks to his ultimate luck? Yeah. Or maybe he wasn't actually all that lucky. After all, the only sort of medical treatment he could hope for was partial at best. Mukuro couldn't decide.
I could do a blood transfusion.
The nurse's office should have had several blood packs for transfusions. Mukuro suspected that Makoto's blood type must be written on his e-handbook, but as he reached over, or as she reached over to search his
I see
handbook,
you're reaching for a sleeping boy's clothes. What in the world is about to happen next? Adults can keep playing, but kids better press the B button, okay?
Mukuro turned toward that familiar voice and saw Monokuma standing behind her.
Makoto right now. Just think of me as a cute wild animal and let your lust lead the way. As the headmaster, I must prevent any illicit sexual relationships, but physical education classes are just fine, Missy.
What? Though he looked just like the one that was at the gym, it was clearly a different Monokuma. Multiple Monokumas had been placed throughout the entire academy, so it wasn't a stretch for him to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Regardless, the same person was controlling all of them. Mukuro had been wary of Monokuma attacking her while she was treating Makoto's wounds, but his appearance at this particular moment seemed to take her by surprise. Monokuma tilted his head along with his entire upper body inquisitively.
Junko? Who is that? Junko. I've never heard of that country before.
It's not a country.
Jokes. Answer me, Junko. You were planning to kill me earlier, right?
Junko this. Junko that. What's your problem? I'm telling you, I'm Monokuma. You must be a big disappointment if you can't even remember something like that. You're not just a disappointment as a person. You're a disappointment as a sister, too.
Ouch.
You're too skinny and your brain is nothing but muscles and your personality is just unbearable.
Oh god, the puns.
I'm sorry,
said Mukuro. She didn't need to apologize, but hearing her little sister call her a disappointment yet again was enough to make the ultimate soldier recoil. Monokuma ignored her and her current situation, climbed on the top of Makoto's barely breathing body and began poking his cheeks.
So what are you gonna do with Makoto now? I'm really interested in human mating habits, you know.
What are you?
Asked Mukuro before trailing off. Monokuma lowered his tone and began whispering into her ear.
Makoto's a pretty nice guy, huh? He even sacrificed himself to save you. He's so generous that it's actually hopeless.
This is like the best toxic sibling relationship, though. Like,
he's not dead yet,
insisted Mukuro. Despite her firm tone, she couldn't hide the fear lingering in her voice.
That's the most disappointing thing about you. You can't even say, I won't let him die.
I won't let him die, Junko.
Mukuro could barely get a word in as Monokuma erupted into poohoohs and ah-ha-ha-has and continued to torment her.
If you can do that, too bad. No regrets. See you tomorrow.
How much laughing are you gonna do?
Makoto was the first person to smile at you. You, a disappointing, depressing, unladylike, inhuman killing machine.
Yikes! Despite denying that he was Junko, Monokuma began speaking at length about Mukuro's past. This contradiction was very much like Junko, and Mukuro was so shaken that all she could do was watch the bear prattle on and on.
Only the fit survive in this world. The only thing that kind-hearted people can do is die, you know. As proof, you're gonna watch Makoto die really soon.
He won't die.
Mukuro's tone of voice had become irregular ever since she took off her Junko wig. Aside from her conversation with Makoto, everything she said as Junko was from a script that her sister had written. But now, there was no script for Mukuro to rely on anymore. I can do a good poo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, can you? Mukuro was treating Monokuma like she would treat... Wait, what? Like she would treat her own sister. When the other students saw her acting so weak, they'd never believed she was the same person who fought Sakura in the gym. And not just that, if anyone from her mercenary past could see her now, her stark change in attitude might make them think she was someone else entirely. Monokuma continued to rail.
He's gonna die. I know it's sad, but you just have to face the facts.
Not gonna lie, in AU ship, you'd ship Mukuro and Makoto in an AU.
Because Makoto is going to die by
I think a lot of people would agree with you, Blair.
fighting among the terrorists. The big bad terrorist silences the weak-willed Makoto before he can leak any information. Doesn't that happen all the time? In the end, all the desperate things you said in the gym turned out to be lies you just told to escape.
Mukuro frowned at
You can't
Monokuma.
do that, Junko. I won't let you do that.
As she blurted out those words in a trembling voice, Mukuro was gripped with confusion about what she just said.
Am I defying Junko right now?
By AU. It was a strange feeling. To Mukuro, it was like she was standing on the ledge of a tall building and imagining what would happen if she jumped. Oh my god! A destructive feeling akin to holding a friend's baby and wondering what would happen if you tripped and fell. Oh god. Before she knew it, fear and anxiety had suddenly taken control of Mukuro's heart. As a member of Finrare and as ultimate despair, Mukuro had killed innumerable people before. She had handled live grenades before. She had descended from the sky in a parachute as anti-aircraft weaponry fired all around her. Her heart never wavered on the battlefield, but now it felt like it could collapse at any second. Monokuma, however, was stable as a tree and slightly tilted his head to the side. I mean, he is a robot.
Weren't you listening to my story? I'm not the one who's gonna kill Makoto. You are.
What? What are you saying, Junko?
Cancel Monokuma. Can we get a hashtag cancel Monokuma in the chat right now? Spam it. Monokuma began giving a strange explanation to a very confused
What the
Mukuro.
suspension bridge effect really means? It means you push the person you love off a bridge and they'll be yours for eternity.
I haven't heard that at all.
Life doesn't always follow what your textbooks say. It's sad, but that's what love is.
Life doesn't... His words made no sense, and Mukuro couldn't think of anything to say as she stood there dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Monokuma continued his little speech, intentionally saying things meant to antagonize Mukuro.
This is your big chance, you know.
Oh, I love it. I love the hashtags.
Right here and now, nobody will ever take him away from you again.
That's funny.
Makoto Naegi, dead by dawn. The last name he ever spoke was Mukuro Ikusaba. The last person he ever smiled at was Mukuro Ikusaba. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
That's sad. There was a certain appeal to Monokuma's twisted suggestion, and Mukuro found herself unsure of her own
This is
judgment.
wrong. It has to be wrong. But it's really Junko saying all this. So doesn't that mean it's right? No, this isn't Junko. It's Monokuma.
Okay, you don't have to spam him in anymore. Thank you, guys.
Monokuma.
And are you sure you want to help Makoto? Once he gets better, he's gonna know everything. He'll know what you did to your classmates. I can't believe you would actually erase your friends' memories of their time together and force them to kill each other. Makoto might get mad at you and say, our real enemy isn't the bear, it's her. Do you really want him to blame you for this?
Mukuro's face turned pale. Dude, Junko is getting into that head. Wow.
I'm going to kill the others. If everyone except you and Makoto dies, you'll be able to spend the rest of your school life together. We can't hold a class trial with only 2 people. It might be a good idea for you both to live the rest of your lives in this academy forever.
No, that's wrong.
And what are you gonna do if his memories return? It's not like you were dating Makoto or anything.
I mean, they
You were
could.
just watching him from afar the whole time. Man, you're so shy.
Her
You
face.
can shoot people's hearts and brains, no problem, but you can't even woo some stupid boy into liking you. Do you want to know who Makoto had a crush on before his memories were taken away? Hello, Megan.
Mukuro trembled as Monokuma continued pressing the issue, gradually loosening the screws, keeping her heart secure. So Mukuro chose to pretend she didn't hear anything at all. All emotion vanished from her face, and she looked silently from Makoto's e-handbook.
If you're looking for his blood type, it's not written in the handbook.
Mukuro's face turned pale. Within 5 seconds, her plan to ignore Monokuma had already failed.
But
Yikes.
since your headmaster is made up of 50% kindness, I'll tell you anyway. Makoto's blood type is B.
It's B. As soon as she heard him say that, all the anxiety, horror, hostility, malice, and dread turning into within Mukuro had completely vanished.
Thank you, Junko.
Oh, she's happy. Mukuro's eyes sparkled without a hint of suspicion, so she turned her back to Monokuma without a hint of suspicion and walked toward the refrigerator containing the blood
Fresh
packs.
blood packs should have been prepared before the plan took effect. They'll last in the cold storage for 21 days.
I like how she's just happy now.
They should still be good.
Despite her emotionless face, Mukuro let herself feel a small amount of satisfaction as she took a blood pack from the refrigerator. As Monokuma watched her, his normally emotionless eyes twitched. If a third party could see his face right now, or even if the other students could see his face right now, they'd wonder, is Monokuma surprised? That's right, they'd have the same shocked look on their faces as if they were seeing Monokuma for the first time. At that moment, a whisper crept out of Monokuma's emotionless face.
Should be a limit to how disappointing you can be.
Wait, what? What? It was far quieter than a mosquito's wings. Even with her battle-hardened hearing, Mukuro couldn't hear what he said. Monokuma shook his head and the voice returned to normal.
It's not like I care that you, the ultimate despair, has hope in anything.
Oh,
It's
crap.
not like I expect much from you to begin with, so this'll at least help me feel despair. But seriously, you disappoint me. Just so you know, despair and disappointment are completely different things, okay? They're as different as bears and pandas.
What are you...
Mukuro's body started to shake as she turned back to look at Monokuma. He hadn't started talking any differently than usual. Junko hadn't turned off the voice modulator and started talking in a real voice or anything. And yet Mukuro was utterly terrified. She was terrified on instinct. What the freak? Not as a soldier. Half the reason she was terrified was because of her instincts as the ultimate despair. And the other half was because she was Junko's older sister. Even though Monokuma, her instincts were telling her that Junko was annoyed with her.
Why are you annoyed? Is it because I betrayed you? Or is it because I didn't die like you wanted me to?
I'm beyond annoyed. I'm really, really angry right now. And I'm really, really disappointed right now. I'm so pissed I could take a rage nap right now.
Rage nap. Monokuma's anger didn't seem any different from his usual anger toward the students, but Mukuro could instinctively sense another emotion mixed with it. Right now, she could feel that Junko was feeling. Hopeless disappointment. Aww. It's normal for someone who's disappointed to lose hope, but for ultimate despair, disappointment means something else entirely. To them, disappointment was tantamount to losing despair itself. Mukuro was a member of ultimate despair. At her sister's behest, Mukuro had soiled her hands many times in order to fill the world with despair. Despite her pride toward being a member of ultimate despair, there was a clear difference between Mukuro and her sister. Junko Noshima was despair incarnate. She was born in despair, letting it infect other people's hopes so it could rot them from the inside out, twisting them into their own her own image. For Junko, feeling hope was its own despair. Creating despair in others created despair in herself, which caused her to feel both intense pain and intense bliss. Junko had walked the fracture created from the conflict between pleasure and penance until fate. All her life, I meant. Sorry. Eventually, the fracture would widen until it swallowed the world and tore it in half. But Mukuro, on the other hand, had neither hope nor despair for the world. At least not when she was a member of Fenrir. Even since she was a child, Mukuro believed she was meant to spread despair because of her sister. She didn't harbor any ill will toward the world. She simply accepted she was meant to spread despair and chose to walk the same path as her sister. She's crazy! The doubt she felt was also only a recent development. Oh. When Junko told her about the plan. When she watched the world burn at the hands of terrorists wearing Monokuma masks, she never wavered once. However, as soon as she heard about her sister's plan to make their classmates kill each other, Makoto included, a strange feeling began to stir within her. So So because of love, she's like, oh wait, hold up, y'all. What we're doing here is very wrong because I really like this boy. Yeah, we're not going to talk about what Mukuro has done for Junko's despair. That dang song still haunts me. I know. I love that song, though, low-key. She was born into it, molded by it, pretty much. When started as a seed of doubt, soon grew into a thorny vine ensnaring Mukuro's feet. As soon as she disguised herself as Junko and finished meeting the other students, she had confirmed that everyone's memories have been completely taken away. That vine began tightening around Mukuro's heart.
The only one who knows about me now. That's it. But that's no problem. It's just like old times. Things will never go back to how they used to be, but that's fine. This should be fine.
She had relinquished the past 2 years she had spent with her friends so she could betray them and deliver death and despair onto them. Though her heart ached, Mukuro was beyond feeling guilt or remorse. But the question, why does my heart ache like this, still remained unanswered. Perhaps that's why she spent so much time talking to Makoto when he was in the nurse's office. And when Makoto gave her that one particular answer, something changed inside her. In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. The words Mukuro blurted out to Makoto weren't improvised to further her role as Junko. It was an honest sentiment from the bottom of her heart. She was even planning to ask Junko herself if Makoto could somehow be spared from her plan. Over the past 2 years, Mukuro's interest had been slowly shifting away from her sister and toward the world itself. By extension, her interest also included Makoto, the first person to ever smile at her and make her feel connected to the world. Aw, that's kind of sweet. He was like a sapling of pure honesty that had taken root in Mukuro's heart. But by the time she realized that, the tree had already rotted. As Mukuro struggled to understand the situation, Monokuma let out a sigh and said,
I wonder which part of you is a wolf anyway. You're just a dog that blindly follows Junko's orders. What does the tattoo on your hand even mean? Are you just a bitch who's pledged her loyalty to her owner? I bet Toko would say that. I'm positive.
That's mean. Monokuma continued to talk as Mukuro stood in confusion.
Obviously lying when I said Makoto's blood type is B.
What?
Duh.
You lied? Junko.
A normal person would have been suspicious.
Right.
I never thought you'd actually believe me just now.
Why would you believe
I must have
her?
misplaced my eyes because I totally did not see that coming. Not even with my ability to predict the future. How shocking. Jeez.
Zoom in.
Some sort of robot cat. Seriously.
It's going to be okay, Junko.
Said
I know
Mukuro.
our plan kind of fell apart, but I'm still on your side. Are you feeling alright? Because I'll do anything.
That's cap. A harsh sound came from Monokuma's mouth.
That was one of my circuits overloading. It's been so long since I felt this angry. Meet me on the roof of the school. I'll smash out all your baby teeth.
Whoa! Monokuma started shadowboxing in front of Mukuro, who remained frozen in place, clutching a blood pack in her hand. We ain't got time to box. She still looked confused, and Monokuma threw up his arms in frustration.
I can't even predict it anymore.
A threatening roar burst from Monokuma's mouth as he leapt at Mukuro with his sharp claws extended. At that moment, her face became completely emotionless. It was not a conscious action. The defensive instinct she honed during her time with Fenrir temporarily suppressed her emotion as she countered Monokuma's attack. Mukuro grabbed a nearby IV stand and used it to parry Monokuma's claws. Holy crap! However, Monokuma's claws seemed to be made with a special alloy and easily sliced the bar in half diagonally. But instead of following up his attack, Monokuma continued talking to Mukuro.
Guess you're not much of a disappointment when it comes to fighting. In fact, if you were so pathetic that you died from that single attack, that would have been interesting in its own way. But right now, you're just incompetent at everything.
Aw.
I'm sorry.
That's mean.
I couldn't help blocking your attack, but there's no way I can fight you, Junko. After all, I'm all you have. I'm the only one who understands you at all.
True, true. Mukuro's words were riddled with endless dismay. The contrast between her usual stoic self and the way she was acting now was so stark. People might assume she had multiple personalities. However, Monokuma just quietly stared at her. He was perfectly still, as if all his functions had powered down completely. Don't apologize, Mukuro. I know, right? But Mukuro continued
no way I
to...
can just leave you alone.
And then Monokuma broke his silence, but... At that moment, a monitor in the nurse's office lit up, displaying a girl's face. Junko Enoshima, there she is, the girl! At the same time, a voice completely unlike Monokuma's began to play from the speakers.
Hey, Mukuro.
Junko!
It had been several days since Mukuro had heard her sister's real voice. Though her face remained motionless, excitement sparkled in her eyes. However, that shine immediately dulled.
To you, Mukuro. I mean it.
Junko's voice emanating from the speaker sounded very gentle and kind. That's a really good Junko voice.
Sorry. I said so many mean things to you. I even tried to kill you earlier, and I was about to make you do something horrible just now, even though I knew about your feelings toward Makoto.
I don't.
You don't have to force yourself. Even if you didn't notice, it was totally obvious to anyone looking at you. You never
Raven,
cared
thank you for the
about
5!
past photos, but when Makoto said he was going to take one, you made sure you facing the camera.
Wait, hold on, pause. Raven gave us $5, and then they said, Makoto's still bleeding, by the way. That's what I've been saying. Like, literally, they have let this man, like, he's been bleeding this whole entire time. They want to box. Everybody wants to fight and crap. This man's still just, like, bleeding out. Like, all of the blood in his body has to have, like, emptied out by now. Like, what's the point? Let the man die. And then Junko Noshima, the ultimate despair, flashed a smile, a pure, sweet smile. On the monitor, she looked like a normal high school girl teasing her older sister. And yet, Mukuro could feel despair and anxiety encasing themselves around her.
I always thought you should have tried hard to take pictures with Makoto. But I guess that's what makes you so disappointing. Still, even though you're disappointing and annoying, I still love you.
Mukuro trembled upon hearing those words. I love you. That's all she ever wanted to hear her sister say. Mukuro believed. No matter what Junko said, she believed she really loved her. She believed she was the only one who could truly understand the despair known as Junko Noshima. She was naive. As soon as she heard Junko say, I love you, Mukuro realized she never completely understood her sister. It was only at this moment that Mukuro finally understood her sister's feelings. Junko's words right now were kind. Perhaps that kindness was completely honest. The words, I love you, might have been true as well. However, for Junko Noshima, this was her way of saying goodbye. She was severing the ties between them. Aww. It was painfully clear to Mukuro, and then, before she could even say anything, the girl on the monitor made a remark that cut Mukuro to the bone.
I'm sure someday you'll make your dreams come true.
Ultimate despairs never talked to each other like this. A simple truth stabbed into Mukuro's heart. Junko had no further use for her. Her own sister was parting away with her. Mukuro had dedicated over 10 years of her life to the cause of ultimate despair, and at this moment it all counted for nothing. But those years no longer mattered to Mukuro. Her sister's rejection was more than enough to send her into the depths of despair. That's why Mukuro, even now, clung to a small sliver of hope. Meanwhile, Junko was still on the monitor.
Right? Did you really think I'd say something that nice? You're so annoying. Can't you just hurry up and disappear already?
Mukuro hoped Junko would say something like that. Don't you hate it when people... There's actually, like, people that are like that, dude. I can't stand that. Maybe not, like, to this extent, but I mean, like, they'll, like, tell you something... Have you ever had those friends? Well, maybe they aren't even friends. They're just like people who you just know. Maybe they're like just like acquaintances or something like that. And like they'll like trash on you all the time. And after they say something like disrespectful about you, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was just kidding. Do you really think I was serious about that?" And you're just like, "Bro, leave me the alone. Like, leave me alone." You know what I mean? They'll make fun of your outfit or something like, "Oh, your hair looks ugly today," and you're like, "Oh," and then they're just like, "Oh, I was just kidding," and you're just like, "Okay." All right. She hoped that she'd start verbally abusing her again or call her useless and incompetent. Mukuro was so masochist, but she'd prefer to be showered with bullets and contempt than endure this kind of emotional pain. Yup, you've had friends like that. I hate the fake friends. I hate those too. They're not even friends. Like, they're just there to bother you for some reason. Luckily, I've never had to endure that. You've never had to? Wait a minute, isn't that Mukuro dressing up like Junko looking at those eyes? I don't see any freckles. Oh yeah, I had 2 friends like that, but I'm not friends with them anymore. Yeah, see, those are the people that you got to stay away from. They're not cool. People who disguise insults as jokes have no spine. I hate that. And then when you finally call them out on it, they get mad, right? They're like, "What? Bro, I was just joking." Like, you can't take a joke. It's like, bro, I can take a joke, but like when you're doing it every single day, repeatedly, all the time, it's not funny anymore. It's not a joke. Obviously, you really like feel that way about me. You must not like me. Never pretended to be nice. They just crap talked me right in front of me. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have somebody say that they don't like me right in front of my face than pretend that they do like me. You know what I mean? And just talk crap about me behind my back. Mukuro was no masochist, but she preferred to be shot with bullets and contempt than endure this kind of emotional pain. I read that already.
I love you, Mukuro.
But
Bye-bye.
The monitor went black, leaving Mukuro to process the horrible goodbye she just received. I know, right, Andrew? They are. And as if on cue...
So nice. By the way, did you know that in about half of all murder cases, the killer is a family member?
Yes, Blair, that is so true. Preach. Monokuma spoke in his usual tone, but it was unclear if his words were getting through to Mukuro. Mukuro let the blood pack in her hand fall to the floor and tightened her grip on the iron bar she was still holding.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Junko. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
She mumbled quietly as if she was chanting a spell and walked past the blood pack on the floor to Makoto's bedside with the iron bar in her hands.
I'll do it properly. I'll make sure I do it. So.
Oh?
Said Monokuma, perking up.
What are you gonna properly do to Makoto with that big thick rod you got there?
Boy. Can we stop?
Are you gonna do him?
What?
Or are you gonna do him in?
What?
Either way, I'm starting to feel some heart-throbbing excitement.
Stop it. Get some help.
Mukuro looked like she had completely... What? Suddenly, Monokuma's body silent... Oh! Yeah! That's what you get. Monokuma tried to see what would happen to him. In the blink of an eye, an iron bar ripped through his... Oh my god! The tip of the bar, which had been cut diagonally earlier to a sharp point, went straight through Monokuma and stabbed into a surveillance camera. Lens was completely destroyed and the camera shot out sparks as it broke down. The iron bar was still stabbed into the surveillance camera as Monokuma dangled from the other end. Jeez. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but only static came out. A few seconds later, his functions came to a complete stop. This is what happens when you keep being perverted, Monokuma. You get literally. Without making a sound at all, Mukuro had kicked Monokuma into the air. As soon as Monokuma's power source and his bomb circuit had perfectly aligned with the surveillance camera in the nurse's office, Mukuro plunged the iron bar into all three of them. Jeez. No normal humans has the skill to utilize such a technique. Not even an ultimate. All the hesitation within Mukuro had vanished. Her eyes sparkled like a panther stalking its prey at night. Bro, at this point, Mukuro is not even an ultimate anymore. She is literally an ultimate god. Like, she is god level. Like, she just ranked up like it's Dragon Ball Z, bro. She went from ultimate to god. Hey, thanks for the 10, Raven. Drinks are on me if Makoto dies. Seriously, though. Mukuro, hurry up. Coffee for you, Blaze. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. Much love, dude. A tense aura surrounded Mukuro, even more so than... Wait, what? She fought Sakura earlier. Look, she's really turning into a goddess. Ignoring Monokuma's lifeless form, she looked at Makoto as he breathed softly and remembered her sister's parting. She mumbled to herself.
Sorry, Junko. I never really understood what despair was.
She spoke without emotion like a machine.
But it's going to be all right now. I finally understand.
Hidden within her, passions began to stir.
I'll make sure I make you happy, Junko. I'll make sure I fill you with despair. I'll save Makoto. I'll make sure the others don't die. I'll let them escape from this place. I'll deal with the people on the outside, too. You invested so much time and killed so many people for the sake of this plan, and I'll destroy every last remnant of it for you.
With the peace sign, this was not an act of vengeance toward the sister who had abandoned her. This was an act of mercy. Struck between the ultimate despair and the hope she gained from Makoto, Mukuro was being refined into something that was unlike despair or hope, and she had no way of knowing where her path would lead. You know what? Like, reading this makes me even more mad that we didn't get any sprites for Mukuro. Like, I just don't get it. The fan base has made sprites for Mukuro, but Spike Chunsoft couldn't for Danganronpa S. I just don't understand that. I don't get it. On to chapter 4. What's up, Tiki? And Tulip? The sound of the students leaving the gym and making their way to the nurse's office rang throughout the hall. Genocide Jack had continued to dodge Sakura's attacks with her tricky movements.
Enough already, you irritating pervert.
Genocide Jack stopped in her tracks.
My! Getting chewed out by my bespectacled Byakuya is making my masochistic side get all tingly! I say the line between sadism and masochism is paper thin, but in my case it's more like a Venn diagram. Words can't explain these hot waves of passion, squirming from the top of my head to the tips of my toes.
She rambled incoherently about Byakuya. The other students tied her up with a microphone cable from the gym and locked her in her own... locked her in her room. Oh... Look at that freaking cable, bro. That cable It's an XLR cable. It's literally the one that I'm using right here. That's hilarious. Half the students stayed behind to keep an eye on her, while the rest left to search the grounds of the school. As soon as the door to the nurse's office opened, Kyoko saw a non-functioning Monokuma with a hole in its chest and the remains of a surveillance camera. It wasn't just in the nurse's office, though. On their way there, the students had seen several destroyed cameras and scattered Monokuma bodies. This was a clear violation of school regulations, but if Mukuro was allied with Monokuma, those regulations wouldn't apply to her anyway. The Monokuma inside the gym was no longer moving, and the students had lost contact with the hacker Bisiki Madurai. So the students assumed that Madurai had taken control of a different Monokuma and went after Mukuro on his own. With that in mind, Kyoko turned and looked inside the nurse's office once again. It was unusually quiet. The beds were empty, but Kyoko could see from the bloodstains that someone had been resting there recently.
Looks like they're already gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to react to the whole thing. Mondo remarked, but as soon as he was about to leave...
Stay here with Chihiro and search for clues.
Huh?
Asked Chihiro, her timid eyes widening. Kyoko continued to speak in a calm tone of voice.
Yes, there may be some clues in these Monokuma remains. I figured you would be the best candidate for investigating machinery.
Yeah, I needed to stretch a little bit.
That dangerous.
Since Sakura could clearly hold her own in a fight with Mukuro, she had joined the other students in searching the school grounds. Kyoko shook her head and replied,
I'm sorry to say this, but if things get out of hand, Chihiro and I will just be in your way. I think it's better if we search for clues here instead of doing nothing. Besides, we might be able to use Monokuma's parts to detect any radio broadcasts from the outside world.
You certainly have a point. Understood. We'll be exploring this floor for a while. Please shout for us if anything happens.
Sakura left the nurse's office.
Destroy Monokuma like this?
As Chihiro cautiously stood over Monokuma's remains, Kyoko started searching through the room. She zeroed in on one of the beds and began studying it intensely. A moment later, Kyoko was satisfied with what she found and let out a small sigh before she spoke.
Chihiro, let me apologize to you in advance.
Huh?
I dragged you into this gamble of mine, so if anything happens, run out into the hallway and call for help.
What does that mean?
But instead of answering Chihiro's question, Kyoko started talking to one of the empty beds.
Let me say this first. I'm prepared to hear your story. No matter how ridiculous it may sound, I promise not to decide if it's a lie or the truth until after I've listened to it in its entirety.
Chihiro looked confused. She didn't understand what Kyoko meant at all. The ultimate, what? Lowered her eyes and turned to the ultimate programmer to make a
Chihiro,
request.
Does your laptop have a voice recording function? And do you also have a microphone?
Huh? Yeah.
I want you to use that to record everything we're about to hear.
But there's no one here.
As Chihiro wondered to herself, she began connecting Monokuma's part of her laptop and turned on the record function.
I'm sure we'll pick up every sound in this room now.
That was smart, said Chihiro nervously. Satisfied, Kyoko nodded and once again started talking to the empty bed.
So what were you going to do if I told everyone I'd found Makoto?
When she heard Kyoko say that, Chihiro looked back at her and was surprised by what she saw. At that moment, the ultimate programmer was kneeling on the floor next to Monokuma's remains. From that position, she was able to see it. What's up, Pine Tree? Of all the beds in the nurse's office, there was one bed in particular that couldn't be seen from the entrance. Underneath that bed lay a limp Makoto. Oh! A blood pack was hidden next to the bed and slowly providing Makoto with a transfusion. The contents of the blood pack were clear. Rather than blood, it seemed to be some kind of saline solution used in emergency hydration. Oh my god! Though it wouldn't be as effective as an actual blood transfusion, it was enough to keep him from going into shock. I love just seeing his sprite right there. So that was the extent of Chihiro's medical knowledge. She was already surprised that Makoto had been in the nurse's office this whole time. Not only that, but Kyoko wasn't talking to the bed that Makoto was under, which sent chills through Chihiro's body. However, there was nobody under the bed that Kyoko was facing. But the moment Chihiro noticed that, a voice rang out from underneath it.
As everyone's attention was focused on Makoto, I was planning to take advantage of the opportunity to take someone hostage.
As Chihiro cautiously lowered her head until it was nearly touching the floor, she was able to make out who was talking. Surprisingly, the person hiding there was clinging to the frame of the bed. Oh my god! Like a ninja clinging to the ceiling. Look at Mukuro! Her sprite. Presumably, if someone had glanced under the bed quickly, they wouldn't have noticed anybody. Though Chihiro had no idea how the person was able to hide under the bed for so long. She could at least understand that her strength was beyond normal human levels. There's no question that the person hiding under their bed was Mukuro Ikasaba. Dude, we need a Mukuro Ikasaba side game where it's like Metal Gear Solid, bro. Like, it would be perfect.
I did not notice. Why?
Mukuro's voice was as cold as ice, but Kyoko didn't even flinch as she responded.
Because I wanted to hear your side of the story. I knew you were hiding under that bed. Compared to the others, the frame was slightly more pronounced.
Chihiro tried comparing the beds to see if this was true, but she couldn't tell the difference at all. Makoto's advanced laying. Only Kyoko's natural observation skills could let her see something like that. Mukuto seemed to come to a similar conclusion and appeared from under the bed without making a sound. Hi, Rosie. Her face was stoic and cold compared to the bomb inside Monokuma. Chihiro thought she was even more terrifying. However, Mukuro ignored Chihiro and shifted her gaze at Kyoko. She leaned against the wall and let her arms fall to her sides as she threw out another question.
Why do you want to hear what I have to say?
Kyoko thought about this simple question for a while, as if she was searching within her own here for the answer.
If I provide an answer, it's because I wish to remain neutral. I'm currently missing most of my memories.
Bye, Darkslayer. Thanks for moderating for a little bit.
Or what talent I had to be accepted into this school.
She could hear Chihiro gasp behind her, but Kyoko didn't mind and continued. What's up, Gamurai?
I believe I should
You approve that
listen to
message?
what you have to say. Regardless of whether you're good or evil, I must hear all facts in order to know the truth. Good and evil don't matter. I'll come to a conclusion based on what I see and hear. I think that's the methodology that's been instilled into me.
I see. I completely forgot you were like that, Kyoko.
But before I listen to what you have to say, I'd like to ask you one question first.
What is it?
Mukuro's reply was completely emotionless. Kyoko presented her question as if she were asking it to herself as well.
What was my talent that allowed me to attend this academy?
The answer to that question was simple.
You're the ultimate detective.
That answer marked a turning point for both girls.
I have a better understanding of the situation now.
I got a question for the chat. Hold on. I'm about to do a poll. All right, this is what Danganronpa game is your favorite? Y'all ready? THH. Maybe I should like or V3. Okay.
If my memory loss wasn't just a coincidence, then you... No, your group has the ability to erase people's memories. With that in mind, if we take into consideration the situation that unfolded in the gym earlier, it can only come to one possibility.
Possibility?
Yes. What you said to Byakuya when he thought you were taking Toko hostage, you claimed that they met 2 years ago. It's possible that might actually be true.
The fact that Makoto called out Mukuro's name, the things that Mukuro confirmed and denied. Genocide, Jack's outlandish claims. These key factors that Kyoko noted using her special observation skills were converging in her mind to form one answer.
It's possible that Byakuya and Toko's memories were also erased like mine, but I don't think their circumstances are quite the same as mine. But if our memories can be controlled so freely, it calls into question whether the day Monokuma appeared was really the same day we entered the academy. Like you said, it's possible we've known Toko Fukawa for the last 2 years.
What do you mean?
Hiro cried, still working on connecting her laptop to Monokuma's parts. Kyoko continued, speaking to both Chihiro and
We
Mukuro.
were knocked unconscious with the sleeping gas the moment we arrived at this school, but it's possible that we were simply made to think that's what happened. For example, we may have already spent the last 2 years at Hope's Peak Academy, and our memories of that time were completely erased. It's even possible that we aren't even ultimates at all, just random people who've been implanted with 16 years worth of false memories.
Okay, so I am looking at the poll right now, right? And I see V3 winning, and I want to ask why. For a lot, because V3 is winning by a lot. So I want to know why. Why is V3 your favorite? What makes it the best one out of all of the games? I need answers. I'm not mad or anything. I just need answers to that one. Though Kyoko's claim sounded ridiculous, her face was completely serious. She looked up at Mukuro once again.
Means, I'm considering the possibility that your crazy story is actually the truth.
Kyoko's declaration filled the room with silence, but she didn't let that silence overwhelm her. Kyoko cut through it with her own words.
Without evidence, all I can really do is make a hypothesis. That's why I want to hear what you have to say, Mukuro. I have no intention of blindly believing what you're going to say, or what that self-proclaimed hack who took over Monokuma said.
She paused and lowered her eyes again, then declared with powerful determination.
Even so, I intend to come to a conclusion, as fairly and objectively as I can. But I can only do that if you trust me and tell me the truth.
Kyoko's conviction was clear from her voice. Mukuro's eyes narrowed slightly, and a tapestry of emotions flashed across her face as she looked toward Kyoko. But when she opened her mouth, her expression and voice were completely devoid of emotion.
I completely forgot you were like that.
Mukuro had repeated this to herself softly, then faced Kyoko and declared,
That must be why Junko took care to erase more of your memories compared to the others. Very well. I'll tell you everything.
Okay. And after Mukuro placed Makoto back onto the bed, she began to mechanically tell a story. I'll say this about V3, right? Since we're on the discussion of it. V3, I love the graphics. I love the aesthetic. I like the character designs of a lot of the characters, the V3 characters. But here's my thing about V3 is just like the overall like dialogue of it. I mean, the executions are all right for the most part. I felt like V3 was very predictable. You know, if you were in the Danganronpa fandom for a while, you kind of could like guess the entire game. And most of us did. Especially the YouTubers that I watched that were Danganronpa fans, most of us guessed like the entire game. Like I watched Nico B, he guessed the whole entire game. I did. Weeby did for the most part. I think Cinnamon Toast Ken, I didn't really watch him, so I don't know about him. But yeah, most of the fans, the hardcore fans, knew everything that was going on. So the tropes kind of sucked. And I don't know. I liked the ending personally. I think the ending was pretty good. I would say the ending of V3, for me personally, is probably the best. I don't know, because like I know a lot of people will say Danganronpa 2, but like I don't really like the whole like this is just a simulation. You know what I mean? Junko Enoshima comes back and is the one that did all of this and yada yada yada. I didn't like all that. Like I thought that was kind of whack. But I will say I think Danganronpa 2 is the best game out of all of them. Like it was literally like peak. It was peak everything. Peak writing, peak characters, peak like the character like dialogue in that was amazing. Executions were good in that one too. Danganronpa 2 is just probably the best out of all of them. I mean, UDG is my favorite, but Danganronpa, if we're talking about like what's the best one, Danganronpa 2 is the best for sure. I just didn't like that ending for Danganronpa 2. It broke the fourth wall. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. Even in the plot twist of chapter 1. But I couldn't stand the writing in Danganronpa V3, man. It was hard to play. Because it was just like over and over. It was like, okay, we get it, Atua. Okay, we get it, Bugs. Okay, we get it. You don't like males. Oh, okay. What's the next thing that Rantaro, or what's the next thing that Kokishi's gonna say? Oh, it's a lie. Wow. Couldn't have guessed that. Yeah, you didn't say that like 50 times this game, you know? It just was really annoying. SDR2 has some crappy characters. Yeah, there are some characters in that are really bad. Like, I mean, like, obviously, I guess you could say Teru might be one of those ones that a lot of people don't like. But I mean, other than Teru, I love UDG. The characters, the storyline is confusing, but still. It's okay, we get it. You're Kokichi. I don't know. I think it's preference because both are great out of the 4. V3's ending broke the fourth wall, but in tasteful enough manner. Best use of a fourth wall break. Rocky Restart's ending was still better. V3 was too Danganronpa-y. It went too far with the tropes, yeah. Before chapter 3 of V3 started, I figured out the killer. Yeah, like a lot of people did. Hey, thank you, unknown character, for the donation. Wasn't V2 was the first one to switch POV? Okay, everybody keeps saying V2, and I keep thinking like I messed up. I thought I messed up on the poll. I had to look at the poll again. I was like, I know I didn't write V2 on there. I think you're right. Yeah. You're right on that. Danganronpa 1 has the least amount of pervy jokes. Yeah, it does. They're all good at some merit. Yeah, they're all good games, though. I'm not saying V3 is bad. Like, V3 had a lot of great things in it. The story of a girl who wanted to fill this world with despair. A girl who only felt truly happy when she was filled with despair herself. A plan for despair that began 2 years ago, or perhaps even earlier than that. How the world was currently ruled by despair itself. Mukuro provided a brief summary of everything she knew about the plan. That's why it sounded even more outrageous than Kyoko had expected. And through her story, Kyoko was able to learn the truth about herself, who she is and why she came to the academy. the fate of the Academy's real headmaster, Kyoko's father. That's why I'm really enjoying this right now. I know this is just like a side story, but like the way Kodaka wrote this, it just shows how skilled of a writer he truly is. He's really good at making you feel things for characters in his projects, you know? He's really good at it. And if you've ever seen, what was that anime that Kodaka did? Even World's End Club. World's End Club had really good characters too, but there was an anime that Kodaka did that a lot of people really liked, and the characters in that were great. I watched it. It was like, what, last year that I watched it? I watched it super recently. Somebody in the chat's going to say what it was, but I loved that anime. As she listened to Mukuro's story, Kyoko remained silent the whole time. Her face went blank when she learned her father had died. Perhaps her memory loss and the absurdity of the situation helped lessen the impact somewhat. But there's no guarantee Kyoko would even believe her story. After Mukuro finished speaking, Kyoko stayed silent. Akudama Drive, yes, that one. With her unrivaled mental prowess, she was able to listen to Mukuro's story without interrupting her or dismissing it as nonsense. Mukuro continued. Thanks,
After
Owo.
all, any pictures that could prove my story are with Junko. All I can do is talk.
After she said that, Mukuro silently walked toward the entrance to the nurse's office. When she arrived at the door, she spoke again without looking back.
Don't believe me. You still
I agree
listen
with you,
to
Flitter.
everything
I
have to
agree.
say, so, Kyoko, Chihiro, thank you.
After apologizing in such a strange tone of voice, she turned to the bed where Makoto lay, breathing weakly.
Make sure Makoto stays rested. When he wakes up, make sure you give him some sports drinks from the dining hall or supply room to drink. Please.
Aww, she's
What are
blushing.
you going to do now?
That's so sweet, asked Kyoko. Mukuro straightened
Despair.
herself up.
I need to make Junko feel despair.
Mukuro continued mumbling to herself as she opened the door.
There's nothing else I can do.
No, there is something you can do.
Mukuro stopped walking as Kyoko spoke firmly.
Regardless of whether Monokuma is really Junko Enoshima or Bashiki Marurai, if you're dealing with him, he won't be able to lay a finger on Makoto. I don't fully trust you, but if you're really concerned for Makoto's life, I'm willing to work with you, unlike Bashiki, who's probably abandoned him already, right?
I'm sorry. I don't really work well with others.
Ha! Mukuro looked away, then bowed her head as she left the nurse's office.
I'll do my best.
The door closed and Mukuro was gone.
I'm sorry for involving you in something so dangerous, Chihiro.
As she continued to organize the vast amount of information that Mukuro gave her, Kyoko turned to Shiro, who was still working on Monokuma. As she trembled with fear, Chihiro slowly looked back at Kyoko.
Kyoko? About what Mukuro said just now?
Chihiro's face turned pale as she struggled with her words, and Kyoko tried to calm her down.
We can't determine if anything she told us was true or not. There's no need to be afraid.
But Chihiro shook her head and returned to looking at
I
her.
think she's telling the truth.
What are you basing that on?
Well, it looks like Monokuma is really being controlled from the outside.
Bro, I used to say that Sonia was so bland too, and then somebody got mad at me for saying that, but I was like, she's such a bland character to the point where they had to like force this weird I don't, y'all saw it, right? Did anybody see the 2.5 OVA, the Nagito one? Like, they had to force Sonya in that like so hard to the point where they're just like trying to make her exciting, and she like comes in with like a rocket launcher, and you're just like, what the freak? Like, it was like so, it was so out of her own character. And I was just like, this is whack, dude. Like, Sonya's not cool. Like, stop. I like her design. I just don't like, I feel like she was written just very blandly. Part of Monokuma's system had been connected to Chihiro's laptop, and she was analyzing the date within its control system. And it was then that the ultimate programmers noticed something unusual about it.
Control program. I thought it would be another year before the system became fully operational.
Chihiro started trembling so much that she was unable to continue speaking. Said Kyoko, purposing another possibility to avoid jumping to conclusions.
It's possible that a similar program was being developed in secret.
But Chihiro...
No, that's not it. It just looks really familiar to me.
Kyoko looked over Chihiro's trembling shoulders to peer at the screen, and that's when she noticed.
Program.
Uh-oh.
Chihiro, did you create this?
No. Wait, what? Chihiro did? Mukuro continued walking forward and was fortunate enough to not encounter Sakura or Mondo. With no interference from anyone, she made her way to the hall as large as the gym and stood before the sealed main entrance. Suddenly, Monokuma popped up from the shadows to block her path. They could have made Sonya such a great character too. She had so much potential. Within this hall that resembled a nuclear bomb shelter, replete with all manner of heavy weaponry, Monokuma's silhouette was conspicuously out of place here. His laughter rang throughout the gym as he wiggled his body from side to side.
What were you doing at the nurse's office? Did you eliminate your rival for Makoto's affections? Or did you help play matchmaker instead?
Aw, Nell, thank you. Hope you have a good day.
Makoto and Kyoko in this kind of situation together. If this were a suspense film, those two would be the last couple standing. But if this was a horror film, they'd just die anyway. The killer was alive all along. Splat goes the blood, plop goes the meat. I'm a huge fan of endings where the characters think they're gonna live, but they're really headed toward a final death-tonation.
Ha!
What the hell is a tonation?
I see what you did.
What does that even mean?
I see what you did. Despite Monokuma's angry complaints, Mukuro remained unperturbed. She continued to stare icy daggers at Monokuma as if she was waiting for him to finish speaking.
Well, anyway, I'm just so sad right now. A regulation-breaking delinquent is disrupting the harmony of this peaceful academy. I can't even keep one of my students from running wild. Time to say goodbye to your incompetent headmaster. I'm gonna use Monokuma evolution to become a big magnum headmaster and mold you into a decent student.
As soon as he said that, Monokuma extended his claws and waddled toward Mukuro.
So if I'm gonna mold you, then I gotta kill you first.
But right as he finished speaking, Monokuma suddenly charged at Mukuro like a spiked volleyball. But Mukuro was faster and dodged Monokuma's attack. She jumped back, keeping her distance from Monokuma just in case his claws could extend even longer. Dude, the action is better than better than Danganronpa 3. Mukuro twisted her body to its limits and just narrowly evaded the figure's attack. When she landed on the floor, she immediately saw. Oh,
so
God.
what does the immortal killer want anyway? Are you gonna tell the others the truth and escape with them? Even though you know what the outside world is like right now?
Two Monokumas were speaking to Mukuro in unison, and that's annoying.
I don't mind if you do that.
That's so annoying.
Just imagine the look on everyone's face when they discover the truth. It fills me with such heart-throbbing excitement.
The two Monokumas continued to speak in stereo sound.
You said you'd destroy my plans, but there's no happy ending waiting for you no matter which route you take. And you only have yourself to blame for that. Don't tell me you thought they'd be grateful to you. Even if you guys escape here, do you think they'll still forgive you when they get away from that nasty air outside? Some of them might prefer to stay in the school, and some of them might resent you for being kind and showing them the truth.
The Monokuma virus has doubled.
Anyway, so it doesn't really matter what they think of you. Monokuma made a little mistake.
Despite facing down two Monokumas, Mukuro's expression didn't waver. She understood that controlling two Monokumas simultaneously was a piece of cake for Junko. Mukuro drew an arm-length metal bar from seemingly out of nowhere and readied herself. It was the remains of the IV stand from the nurse's office, sharpened into a pointed weapon. With her weapon in hand, Mukuro responded in a cold, mechanical tone.
That's fine. I'm already used to that.
None of the fears she felt when Monokuma suggested that Makoto would blame her appeared on her face. Her path was clear to her now, and she calmly issued her demand to Monokuma.
Open the gates.
The shock of such a straightforward demand left both Monokumas momentarily speechless, but soon they replied. This makes you see that like Kodaka really wanted to write like something with action in it. Like really bad. He knew he couldn't do it in Danganronpa because, you know, the students can't be like strong. Obviously, there's a couple strong students, right? And they've kind of like fought Monokuma here and there. But other than that, like you could tell he really wanted to do something action with Danganronpa, but he couldn't. He couldn't fit it anywhere. Except he tried to force it in Danganronpa 3 and it was kind of bad. So instead he's like, you know what? I'm going to create Akadama Drive. Like, screw this.
Huh? Why?
So we can all leave together.
Another straightforward answer. Both Monokumas faced each other and began gesturing as if they were whispering to one another. Mukuro knew her movements were intended to mock her. Unmoved, she continued to speak to Junko directly.
I think they'll understand if I show them the outside world. And then they'll stop doubting Makoto.
You always find new ways to disappoint me, Mukuro. Did you forget why the school has an air filtration system?
It's true that the air outside is polluted, but I don't think it'll kill us immediately. Besides, it's better than being trapped in the school and forced to kill each other.
How can you be sure the others will go along with you? You know what I mean, right? Before the former headmaster got turned into space dust, he interviewed the others and they all agreed that they wanted to stay in the school. That was before their memories had been erased. Do you really want to betray their wishes?
Mukuro blinked and slowly stepped forward.
I don't really care about their feelings.
Huh?
You're all I need, Junko. So don't worry. I'm always watching out for you. I'm going to make sure you feel despair, and I'm going to make Makoto and the others happy. If you want to revel in your own despair that badly, then I'll trust that hope Makoto gave me and take my chances with them instead of you.
Ruko's brief but powerful speech caused the Monokumas to turn and talk to each other again.
This doesn't look good at all, Monokuma-A. This child doesn't realize her own hypocrisy. She's so disappointing that she's starting to reach critical mass. Right, Monokuma-B?
Junko, how are you controlling these and talking to yourself at the same time?
That she's starting to reach critical mass. Right, Monokuma-B?
The two Monokumas looked at Mukuro, who seemed ready to destroy them, and said,
What do you think, Monokuma-C?
Oh crap, Mukuro was taken aback by their question, but her instinct suddenly kicked in and she immediately dodged away. At that moment, a third Monokuma, claws extended, passed by where her head had been previously. This new Monokuma unit landed with several spins and faced Mukuro, who had clung to the remains of a surveillance camera still attached to the ceiling.
Both A and B.
Yeah, F is deep, dude. This is deep. The three Monokumas lined up. To the students locked inside the academy, this sight would have been akin to a nightmare. They're even louder. The three units began speaking in perfect harmony as their 6 eyes looked up at Mukuro. Suddenly, they each jumped away in 3 separate directions and kicked off one of the walls. The path of each unit's triangular attack all converged on a single point. Mukuro, who was still clinging to the ceiling. She was surrounded by razor-sharp claws coming at her from different directions. But this situation wasn't even a nightmare to Mukuro. Compared to the time she fended off 3 assassins who had invaded her camp one night back when she was still a member of Fenrir, this was nothing. This thought crossed Mukuro's mind as she dangled from the ceiling with one hand and thrashed her limbs around like a tornado. Holy crap! Intercepted by this move, the Monokumas fell to the floor with a loud crash. Mukuro landed on the ground and chased after one of them, brandishing her metal bar. Suddenly, she stopped moving and took a huge leap back. One of the Monokumas exploded with a deafening roar. He had detonated the bomb inside himself in an attempt to take Mukuro down with him. But thanks to her honed battlefield instincts, Mukuro managed to avoid the explosion. She looked toward the hallway, expecting the explosion to have attracted the attention of Sakura and the others, but she didn't hear any footsteps approaching. Monokuma's voice rang from within the dense smoke.
Oh, you don't have to worry. I already told the other students to assemble in the cafeteria.
What?
They were eager to follow my orders after I told them I'd decided that a special police unit was coming to get them.
Special police unit?
I'm pretty sure Kyoko and the others are all in the cafeteria by now. I'm sure Makoto is with them too.
Oh!
I doubt Sakura will get too rough with him, but I'm sure Byakuya will torture Makoto once he wakes up.
Oh no!
I can just
Mukuro!
imagine him rubbing salt or pouring soy sauce into his open wounds. Man, I'm getting all hot and bothered right now.
What? As she listened to Monokuma's overlapping voices, Mukuro tilted her head slightly and asked,
I'm pretty sure they're going...
This Monokuma is so good.
You're such a disappointment.
I love the voices. It suddenly dawned on Mukuro. Not the reason why Monokuma didn't care if the students found out he lied, but rather that the voices of the Monokumas in the smoke were gradually increasing in number. As the smoke started to clear, the shadows of 3 Monokumas appeared. Holy crap! The one that exploded couldn't have revived, so a new one must have come to take its place. But there's no way Mukuro only heard 3 Monokumas talking just now. As if to prove her hearing had been accurate, the Monokumas suddenly made their move. The 3 Monokumas bent over and began twirling their upper bodies. From behind them, new Monokumas emerged like after images brought to life. Holy crap! The second row of Monokumas mimicked the earlier ones with only 1 frame of delay, revealing even more Monokumas behind them. Jeez! Eventually, Mukuro realized that there were 3 rows containing 10 Monokumas each.
Did you know this is called a circle dance?
Circle dance? Monokuma's 30 voices spoke in perfect harmony as they divulged information that had nothing to do with the current situation. This is wild! Mukuro already knew that multiple Monokumas were positioned throughout the academy, but only Junko knew how many Monokumas actually existed. Mukuro had no way of knowing if these 30 Monokumas were part of a large contingent. The flock of two-tone teddy bears continued to twirl around. Mukuro felt like she was being bombarded with hypnotic images. Faced with this abnormal sight, the ultimate soldier remained calm and maintained her focus. She was nothing like the girl who had panicked earlier in the gym when Makoto was impaled. As she stood before 30 emissaries of despair, she slowed her breathing and allowed her heart rate. Wait, she's about to fight these fools? Heart rate to accelerate. It was instinct, not fear or panic, that sent her blood racing throughout the body, speeding up the reaction time of her cells. As her sense sharpened, the Monokumas began speaking to her again.
Don't worry, I'll make sure Makoto doesn't die.
Insert
As
Matrix
long as
OST?
everyone lives, I
Right.
can reset their memories as many times as I want.
What?
That's right. All your effort, hope, dreams, and determination are going right into the garbage heap.
Mukuro's a bad for real. The Monokumas took turns speaking in groups of 10, as if the mastermind controlling the Monokumas wanted to show off her ability to manipulate them. However, the ultimate soldier knew what the true purpose behind all this was. She strained her ears to their limit and noticed a certain sound hidden among the Monokuma's voices. Mukuro's face remained perfectly still as she kicked off the floor. The moment she moved to the side, a roaring sound shook the entrance hall. The ceiling-mounted turrets in front of the gate started raining bullets down on Mukuro. Holy crap! The Monokumas were just the mastermind's decoy while she tried to blow her away. As if further trapping her, the Monokumas charged at Mukuro through the storm of bullets. Mukuro guessed that the mastermind programmed their movements in advance so they wouldn't get hit by a single bullet. She ran for the gates, evading waves of bullets and claws every step of the way. Can you imagine? Programming 30 Monokumas and 2 turrets while also predicting Mukuro's... This is crazy! Mukuro's escape route. The sheer power of both of these girls. First of all, Junko controlling all of these Monokumas, and then second of all, Mukuro being able to dodge bullets and like 50 Monokumas on top of that. Jordy, what's going on? This is insane. This would be considered impossible for anyone, but Mukuro knew it was possible for Junko. As ultimate despair, she possessed despair-inducing abilities that surpassed the capabilities of any normal human. Her display of power was only for filling Mukuro with despair. The scene playing out in front of Mukuro was brimming with despair. The adorably deadly Monokumas laughed and danced like reapers as bullets whizzed through the air. It was despair to the point of absurdity, and it was all for Mukuro. But in the presence of such despair, Mukuro felt a strange serenity.
For me. Junko's doing all this for me.
Oh, here we go.
Junko, are you watching me right now?
Here we go. In the end, perhaps Mukuro really was a disappointment. She clenched her fists.
Junko, thank you.
Just standing there as the guns are firing on her. The sound of gunfire overshadowed her whisper, and Mukuro felt completely silent. As a member of Ultimate Despair, Mukuro's heart was filled with joy. Though she was filled with emotion, her eyes had lost their sparkle. Silence filled the air. Even the gunfire from the turret seemed to stop for a moment. But that was only an illusion to the one controlling Monokuma. Something strong enough to silence the gunfire and avoid being picked up by the sensors spread through the school with Mukuro at the center.
I'll make sure I do this right.
With that final thought, she closed her mouth and turned off her emotions. As she ran through the waves of scorching bullets, the air around her began to grow colder. As its coolness spread into her heart, it began to beat in a mechanical fashion. Several seconds later, Mukuro's body and mind melded together and became one with her surroundings. Holy crap, she's like... Her temperature now dominated the battlefield. Despair bullets and Monokumas filled the area. Mukuro predicted their movements and jumped into the air without any hesitation. One of the Monokumas jumped at her, but she avoided this attack, kicked his body, and launched herself in midair. Holy crap! Bullets pierced through the space Mukuro was previously occupying, striking the failing Monokuma right through its eternal bomb. The impact of the bullet caused it to explode, sending fiery Monokuma parts everywhere. As she rode the blast wave, Mukuro balanced herself in midair. She kicked away 3 Monokumas that leapt towards her. She moved so gracefully she was practically flying. In contrast, the Monokumas threw themselves onto the path of oncoming bullets, exploding one after the other. Some of them exploded near the main entrance, but their blast didn't even leave a scratch. With full control over the entrance hall, Mukuro evaded bullets and confirmed that the bombs inside Monokumas weren't enough to destroy the door. But she refused to stop. Mukuro needed to get information on what she must do to escape the academy. There's 50 Monokumas, me, but you said there was 30? I'm just saying, like, holy, there's still like a ton, you know? Mukuro wanted to fill Junko with despair by instilling hope into the future of Makoto and the other students. That was Mukuro's ultimate goal. Get information. In contrast to her determination, her mouth stayed shut. But this did not mean Mukuro was not currently speaking to Junko. This situation, this battle of death and destruction, was a conversation of sorts for Mukuro. All she knew how to do was fight. She thought she wasn't interested in anything else. She thought she didn't need anything else. All Mukuro needed to do or be was a sword to fulfill her sister's desire for despair. That purse alone was the crux of her existence, and she lived her entire life convincing herself that she couldn't do anything else. That's why power was like a language to Mukuro. A battle to the death revealed more about her heart than mere words could. Her words were in the wind of savagery that blows across the battlefield, uprooting others who also speak the language of violence. This was true even against her sister. When Junko would berate her sister, Mukuro couldn't talk back. All she could do was cower and apologize profusely. But it's different now. For the first time, Junko was using a language her sister actually recognized. Violence. The child of despair who tore the world apart was speaking to her sister with the language of power. Mukuro's heart filled with joy. For that reason, she strengthened her focus on her conversations with Junko, and that emotion began to gradually disappear. On this frigid battlefield, Mukuro continued her heated conversation. Endless rounds of despair fired from the school's turrets, but Mukuro's words intercepted every last violent shot that threatened to shatter her body and mind in half. Holy crap! She quickly realized that the Monokumas hadn't decreased in number at all, no matter how many she kept destroying. Not only that, she noticed that more Monokumas had been joining the fray until there were nearly 50 of them for Mukuro to fight. See? 50! 50! But Mukuro's resolve wouldn't break so easily. As she continued to wield her power, her heart began to fill with something that was neither hope nor despair. She learned despair from being abandoned by Junko, and she learned hope from her acts of violence. For Mukuro, who had no interest in this world, this small space in front of the gate was a reflection of her life, a representation of her perfect world. This disappointing girl, filled with endless disappointment, who knew of no other way to live, continued her lonely dance. She surrendered herself to the rhythm of despair, which accompanies the music of hope. And this is the finale. This one's 40 minutes. That's crazy. She literally was taking on 50 Monokumas. Now there's 50. Yeah, now there's like 50. And just because, like, think about how freaking amazing Mukuro is.
How much time has passed?
She's insane! The surveillance cameras at the gates were capturing footage of countless Monokumas falling at the hands of a child who fought like a raging demon. The Monokumas bolstered their numbers, and now 100 of them were trying to sink their claws into Mukuro. Very Peckover, right? Most of them were running on autopilot, reacting to her movements based on prior information they had received in advance. But despite standing before hundreds of mechanical adversaries, Mukuro's face showed no fear. She hadn't sustained a single injury, giving her a presence that was nearly divine to behold. Though Sakura Ogami was powerful enough to injure her. Mukuro in her current state could potentially fight Sakura to a draw now without relying on firearms. She took complete control of the battlefield, taking in her surroundings as if they were part of her. She dodged attacks from the rear as though she had eyes on the back of her head and stabbed through Monokuma's weak points with her metal bar. She's crazy! No matter where the attacks came from, Mukuro deflected them all as if her skin were covered in eyes. Describing her as ultimate no longer did her justice. Mukuro had transcended the boundaries of humanity, becoming a pure killing machine. But despite that, even though she understood the ludicrous power her sister possessed, Junko was not afraid. She felt not one iota of fear. After all Junko can feel is despair. I'm really loving this a lot. Same, Mystery! This is crazy! She even started to admire her sister's attempt to fill her with despair, but that sentiment quickly filled Junko with an orgastic ecstasy of despair. Ew! Calm down! You're drooling! She knew that Mukuro was neither hope nor despair. She was just a phenomenon. A disappointed girl who no longer understood herself, who only knew how to be violent because it was all she could believe in anymore. Mukuro had become an avatar of destruction beyond that of any military force. She couldn't even be considered a soldier anymore. She was a natural disaster like a typhoon or a tornado. Or perhaps like gravity, she was now a fundamental force of the universe that only existed to bring despair to Junko. The mastermind enjoyed watching her sister go all out. If Mukuro destroyed everything and ruined her life, Junko would still be comforted by the despair. She could just go right ahead and overpower her. Junko considered this for a few seconds until a familiar, hopeless habit reared its head. Her habit of getting so bored that it made her sick. The girl had been grinning as she watched the screen now bore a look of calm stoicism, and she reached for the microphone connected to Monokuma's speakers. Mukuro was no longer human anymore, but Junko knew how to bring her back. It was a simple feeling, really, and with that hopeless feeling for Mukuro in mind, the mastermind said just one word.
Mukuro?
Uh-oh.
Mukuro?
A voice, it was calling her name. Instead of using Monokuma's voice filter, Junko's natural voice was coming out of a Monokuma unit. That's all it took. With one word, Mukuro Ikasaba stopped being a force of nature and became a person again. Monokuma would not miss his opportunity. Oh, crap! As his moving to the beat of Mukuro's shaking heart, a torrent of claws leapt to attack her. But Mukuro trusted her instincts and twisted her entire body to fend off the attacks, leaving her with only a few scrapes here and there. But the despair wasn't over yet. The ultimate despair didn't waste any time making her next move.
Watch out!
Yeah, let's go! As soon as Mukuro heard that voice, her mind went completely blank. Oh, dang! Okay, so the person that made the animation, if you think about it, that was the voice line, which is here in the finale, that they used for that part in their animation. That's pretty cool. There was no mistaking it. That was Makoto's scream. The scream that saved her from the spears of Gungnir and changed her destiny.
No, that's wrong.
It took her 1/10 of a second to realize that voice was just a sound clip that Junko had replayed. But it was more than enough time to drag Mukuro, who had regained her humanity, into despair. Right when she recovered from the moment of shock, Monokuma appeared behind her and roundhouse kicked her in the temple. She twisted her head to roll with the blow, but at that moment, a different Monokuma attacked her from the opposite side with a headbutt. But as soon as Mukuro dodged that attack, 3 Monokumas launched simultaneously drop kicks and knocked her to the ground. Holy crap! The fact that they weren't using the claws meant they weren't trying to kill Mukuro right away. Before she could stand up again, dozens of Monokumas waiting for her on the floor climbed on top of Mukuro and pinned her limbs. Dude, this is freaking intense! One of the Monokumas waddled over to Mukuro as she lay face down on the floor.
A pretty girl getting pained by all these memes. I wonder if I should feel more excited about this.
Oh my god, please stop.
That face.
That's your
If I
sister.
wanted to kill you, I'd just pump you full of bullets right now. But I don't think the audience watching this on TV would like that ending very much. I need to make sure I do it the right way this time.
What are you planning to do to me?
Mukuro asked her in her emotionless voice.
Nothing.
Monokuma...
I'm just gonna stick to the original plan and make you play the killing game at this school. I'll erase everyone's memories again and just make them redo the introduction and the entrance ceremony again.
In typical Monokuma fashion, he leaned his face toward Mukuro. Ew.
It'd be boring if we had to redo everything. Maybe this time I'll have you participate as Mukuro Ikusaba. I'll take away even more of your memories like I did to that irritating detective girl. You'll just be a poor little girl with no memory at all.
As Monokuma talked and wiggled his body from side to side, the other Monokumas danced and twirled around. Oh, they're twerking! Amid this fantastical scene, Monokuma continued to describe his hopeless plan in a nonchalant manner.
You'll be the girl with amnesia, and everyone will feel so sorry for you.
Country Kuma.
But as they unravel the mystery of this academy, they'll find out who you really are. It's exciting to think how they'll treat you when that happens. Knowing you, you'll probably kill someone purely on instinct. Maybe I should rethink my rules about self-defense.
Babes pulled a Korikyo.
You can't.
Her memories would be erased. There was nothing she could do about her classmates hating her, but losing even her childhood memories would mean her connection to Junko would be severed as well. Even if Mukuro had no interest in the world, that was unbearable, even for her. Unbearable.
Game Plus before, but this is the first time I'll get to see a new game minus.
Yikes.
Ah, should I tie you up for fun?
A new game
Maybe
minus.
we should make this game even more masochistic. Forget hard mode, very hard mode, and inferno mode. Wanna just skip ahead to impossible mode?
Elden Ring mode.
Maybe I'll erase your memories after I drag you on a motorcycle, pummel you with 1,000 baseballs, burn you at the stake, and crush you with an excavator.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Mukuro knew what Monokuma was talking about. He was describing the tools they had prepared for the various executions they had planned for the students.
After everyone reintroduces themselves, they'll walk around the school grounds and eventually find a flat-chested girl with amnesia, covered in bandages with a Fenrir tattoo on her right hand. I'd bet a certain fan base might get off on that. If this were a game, that would increase sales by 500%.
Oh my god. Though Monokuma sounded like he was joking, everything he said was deadly serious. As evidence, Mukuro heard a rumbling sound off in the distance.
Now then, your sweet ride is on its way.
Lucy, hi. Based on the engine's noise, Mukuro surmised that it was the large motorcycle that was supposed to be used for one of the executions. Mondo's?
This all the way from the punishment room, so you better be grateful.
You're talking about Mondo's motorcycle? The sound of the roaring engine grew louder and louder, like the approaching footsteps to death. Mukuro wondered how Monokuma would drive it with such tiny arms and legs, but then she remembered she was dealing with an ultimate despair. Junko would make the impossible possible just to bring about despair. The despair that...
I fail? I couldn't fill Junko with despair? I couldn't save Makoto and the others?
Questions raced through Mukuro's mind, but she wasn't able to answer them. There's no way she could have answered them so easily. After all, she was still alive. The sound of the motorcycle grew closer and closer as if was threatening to break Mukuro's spirit. Suddenly, Monokuma stopped moving. The other Monokumas continued doing their automatic movements. As this strange event unfolded, Mukuro noticed something. The motorcycle had suddenly gone quiet. After a few seconds, the engine exploded to life and began to approach even faster than before. Wait, what? Only a few seconds later, what appeared in front of the main entrance was an enormous motorcycle that plowed through groups of Monokumas like a predator hunting its prey. Look at the motorcycle. It's got stars on it and everything. I was not expecting that. I was expecting, like, you know, the Harley or whatever, you know, like one of those kind of motorcycles. But out of nowhere, freaking yellow bumblebee colored freaking motorcycle just comes out of nowhere with stars on it. The rider of this motorcycle was none other than Mondo. Oh! Mukuro and Monokuma were both visibly shocked by this. Instead of addressing them, Mondo accelerated the motorcycle he stole from Monokuma directly toward Mukuro. Just before his front tire touched Mukuro, he popped a reverse wheelie and turned the entire motorcycle around. The back wheel swept over Mukuro's back, knocking away all the Monokumas that were spinning her.
Can you stand?
Mondo asked and begrudgingly offered his hand to Mukuro. Mondo saved the day! Confused, Mukuro took his hand and...
Mondo, I was so close!
One of the Monokumas protested. Not in his normal voice, but as the hacker, Bishiki Madurai.
Oh, yeah. You're Bashiki or whatever, right?
Waterboy's in the building.
Why are you helping a terrorist?
I ain't bragging about this or anything, but I have no clue if you or this girl is lying.
The veins in his temple began to bulge and his cheeks blushed with anger as Mondo said.
Still, I ain't the type to just stand around while some idiot gangs up on a girl.
What are you saying?
Facts.
Get a hold of yourself.
Didn't you just call her a
You must be
earlier?
experiencing Stockholm Syndrome. You've deluded yourself into thinking you're friends with the criminal who's taken you hostage.
Monokuma tried to explain to Mondo, but he ignored him, took Mukuro's hand, and pulled her onto the back of the motorcycle.
No, shut the fuck up.
Ah!
I don't know nothing about your Stockholms or syndromes, but don't go acting like you can boss me around.
As Mondo shouted, he revved the motorcycle as if he was using it to punctuate his words. The ceiling-mounted turrets began moving, but the two disappeared before the turrets could aim at the motorcycle. As they zoomed through the hallway, countless Monokumas chased after them, waving their claws wildly through the air. Asked Mukuro. Shouted Mondo. His voice was even louder than the sound of the engine.
Don't get the wrong idea. I don't trust you at all.
He lowered his voice slightly, as if he were whispering to himself.
Still, I don't know why, but I felt like I could trust what he said.
He?
Inquired Mukuro, but there was no time for questions. The unit leading the Monokumas chasing after the motorcycle had almost caught up to them. Is he talking about Makoto? And them, like the enormous maw of some fearsome creature, they brandished their claws in a perfect unison. At that moment, the motorcycle zoomed by a certain girl. A girl whose fighting ability surpasses that of any normal human. The strongest girl on Earth. Let's go! With a fighting spirit that defied comprehension, the ultimate martial artist kicked off the floor! A sound even louder than the motorcycle's engine filled the room. When Mukuro looked back, she saw Sakura landing on the floor, seeing the pack of Monokumas flying several meters away. Holy sh! If she heard Mukuro mumble her name, Sakura didn't acknowledge it. Like a statue of a fearsome god king, she calmed her breathing as she stood before the pack of Monokumas ready for battle.
That does seem unbecoming for one who claims to be the ultimate hacker.
An overpowering aura seeped from her skin, and her skin shimmered as an intense heat began to fill the hallway. Like the power of Mukuro's sheer violence, this was the power of martial arts. Mukuro froze the air around her, and time along with it, but Sakura was generating enough heat to... What? Boil space itself? What the freak? As she stood before the Monokumas. With that heat stinging her back, Mukuro looked ahead. Hifumi and Chihiro were cautiously peeking from behind the door leading to the dorms, while Aoi and Taka kept watch from inside the building. After passing them by, Mondo slowed down the motorcycle as he reached the front of the cafeteria and turned into a complete stop. The other students looked warily at Mukuro, but among these students, Mukuro noticed two people who weren't regarding her with suspicion. One was Kyoko, who seemed to be studying the situation. The other one was a skinny boy who was leaning against Kyoko's shoulder.
Makoto!
Makoto! Mukuro's lips began to tremble as she sat on the back of the motorcycle. Ignoring the pain coursing through his body, Makoto smiled at Mukuro and repeated what he said to her earlier.
I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro.
Unfortunately, Mukuro was unable to realize her hope of filling her little sister with despair. Instead, she had successfully planted the seeds of hope into her fellow students. Makoto had barely regained consciousness while Mukuro was fighting the horde of Monokumas at the main entrance. When he woke up, he did something extremely simple. He talked about his memories. Most of the students were still skeptical even after listening to Mukuro's recorded confession on Chihiro's laptop. Obviously, they were still not entirely convinced at first when Makoto woke up. After Sakura asked him a certain question, the ambience changed.
The world is completely destroyed. You're saying there's no one else alive?
Makoto slowly sat up to answer Sakura's question.
Kinjiro is still safe. I'm sure he'll keep his promise to you.
Aww, that's so sweet. Kinshiro was the only man she couldn't defeat. A man who had promised her a rematch and made her one.
You know that name. How do you know?
Other promise as well.
How do you know that name? How do you know about that promise?
Because you told me. No.
Makoto slowly corrected himself.
You told all of us.
Sakura was silent after hearing those words, but she then faced the other students and spoke in a loud, clear voice.
Are going to trust Makoto.
Sakura?
Though Aoi was shocked, Sakura continued to speak with determination. God, they made Sakura so good in this.
Locked away inside my memories. In fact, I was planning to keep that a secret until the day I died.
I already liked Sakura, but I like her even more.
That means there was once a strong bond between Makoto, myself, and with my fellow students as well.
Makoto continued to talk in a gentle tone. Though it couldn't have been good for his health, he continued to slowly talk about his memories that the other students no longer had.
Well, why do you know about the story I'm planning to write? Are you a special Nen user who can predict the future?
Sakura's the best character, hands down. I agree. I love Sakura so much, same.
Help you with
What? Wait a sec. How do you know I extorted money from that girl related to the Kuzuryu clan?
Because you tried to sell my organs to them.
What? His wounds were excruciating, but even so, Makoto kept smiling and talked about their lives together, as if it was his duty to do so now that he had regained his memories. As the other students listened to him, they slowly began to realize something. The vivid accounts he was providing couldn't be explained as just passing knowledge. Clearly, some kind of bond between them all had been erased. Only Togami remained
no
cynical.
Way I would have grown close to any of you. It's likely that you're all secretly working together.
Though Togami was still hostile toward Makoto's recollection of their memories, for the time being, he determined that Makoto wasn't actually a terrorist. Of course he's not. Mukuro had bought enough time for Makoto to wake up and share his memories with the others. Even if she hadn't intended to do that. I hate Hifumi. You do? Why? And now, as she looked at the boy who had smiled at her, Mukuro didn't know what to say. She couldn't think of anything to say at all. I can't take that freaking motorcycle seriously. The battle was over and the Mukuro was now... Yo, that motorcycle, yellow motorcycle just looks silly to me, dude. The battle was over and Mukuro is now back to being a disappointing girl. What's up, Seppi? She turned away from everyone's faces and apologetically climbed off the back of the motorcycle. But Makoto saw her and slowly opened his mouth to say,
You saved my life.
Oh, that's sweet. Makoto gave her words of sincere gratitude between his weak breaths. Mukuro couldn't bring herself to look at him as she mumbled.
If Kyoko told you, then you already know what I did, right?
After regaining his memories and learning the truth, Mukuro should have been nothing but a hated traitor to him. Why would he smile at someone like her? Mukuro kept her head down. Makoto smiled as if he was unsure how to respond and said,
I guess you're right, but you also saved my life many times during these past 2 years.
That's my boy right there. Let's go, Brandon! Makoto took a deep, quiet breath and smiled at Mukuro again.
We all spend time with each other. It would be great if you could look for a different path. Not despair. And if there's any way I can help you, I will.
Do you really think I can walk another path at this point?
I don't know what you can do, or even what I can do, but I think it's more important to look for that path instead of actually finding it.
Was this intentional or a coincidence? Just before he regained his memories, Makoto had said something similar to Mukuro when she spoke to him in the nurse's office as Junko. Regardless of whether he lost his memories or regained them, those words revealed Makoto's true character. As Mukuro confirmed that to herself, Makoto blurted out something that was almost too trusting.
And it's not just you, even Junko can.
But he was immediately interrupted. Oh, here we go. Monokuma's face appeared on every monitor in the academy, and his laughter seemed to be coming out of every speaker.
I could have kept pretending to be that ultimate hacker, but it's boring to impersonate someone who doesn't even exist.
Thank you for telling us that you cap.
Identity turned into Kanokuma.
Kanokuma. Yoko looked up at a surveillance camera and addressed Monokuma
You
directly.
seem to give up pretty easily.
There isn't a bear anywhere that gives up as easily as I do. Regardless, I'm pretty sure Chihiro has figured out the secret of my control program by now.
So, just as I thought, you included that program on purpose.
Yeah, if you just came in right now, you missed out on a lot. There were two reasons such a hateful person would intentionally leave an obvious clue inside the Monokuma units. Either Juko wanted the students to learn the truth about the outside world and themselves on their own and turn their hopes into despair, or she was looking forward to that clue resulting in her own plan being undone, which would allow her to feel despair toward herself. She was an angel of everlasting darkness, delighting in her own despair and using it to spread despair and destruction to those around her. Why would someone like that continue to play the role of Monokuma?
Actually, I set that program for Chihiro to discover if she happened to be one of the final 5 survivors.
It's okay, Owo.
I feel so sad and empty that my preparation was a waste, but I'm going to think about it positively.
What's up, Plague
Truth
Robots?
doesn't exist in Monokuma's dictionary.
Nervousness began to grip the students as Monokuma continued talking in his relaxing, uplifting voice.
Looks like everyone's here, including Toko, who's still tied up in her room. So let's start the heart-throbbing, exciting special graduation exam.
What? The students broke out in noisy confusion, but Monokuma ignored them and kept talking.
Relax, relax. Change Elax to Ubert for all I care. I'll still be the most adorable bear here.
Ubert. Togami, visibly annoyed with Monokuma's nonsensical rambling,
I already
shouted,
know it's you, Junko. Stop this stupid game and show yourself.
Oh my, don't you know? If you want to lure the mastermind out of her heavenly hidey hole, you need to bring a worthy sacrifice. You're not worthy enough at all. Do you really
Bye,
think the
Owo. Thanks for
mastermind
modding.
showed herself for your pathetic hope and despair?
He roared maniacally, then began to explain the special graduation exam.
Everyone will graduate, but if you fail,
Don't do
you'll
it.
be held back for a whole year.
Don't do it.
Please give you a fresh new lease on life, and you'll reintroduce yourselves at the start of the school year again.
Don't do it. No.
They say people's lives don't come with reset buttons, but I'm not a people. Whether it's soft resets or hard resets, I can do as I please.
Yasuhiro seemed confused, but the other students knew what Monokuma meant by reset. He was going to force them to relive their school lives once again. As Yasuhiro struggled to understand, Taka pointed at a nearby monitor and shouted,
Stop this already! No matter what you do to us, we'll never commit murder! These past few days should have already made that clear to you!
What was that?
Jumped Monokuma.
Of course! No one here would ever take another human being's life for any reasons!
As Taka shouted, one of the students, a pale-faced girl standing apart from the others, looked away. Sayaka. I was Sayaka. As she trembled, a voice... Ooh. She couldn't even turn around from sheer terror, but Sayaka knew. She knew Monokuma was standing right behind her. Oh, crap.
I really think none of you will become a killer.
Monokuma leaned towards Sayaka and asked her a question only she could hear.
By the way, Sayaka, why did you go to Makoto's room when nothing strange had happened yet? Did you two have an inappropriate relationship?
Oh,
What would your fans think if they found out you made a move on a boy by sneaking into his room?
Oh, no.
Or were you there for some other reason?
She could barely make a sound, much less scream, as her trembling worsened. Monokuma had nothing to gain by cornering Sayaka and toying with her emotions like this. She simply wanted to see the younger singer fall into despair over her true character, and for that reason, Monokuma did not relent.
Hey, what were you trying to do to your close friend you've known for the past 2 years?
Her determination from last night blended with the memories Makoto had recounted and ate away at Sayaka's mind like a disease. As her mind began to rip itself apart, she fell to her knees. A clear ball flying at just around 105 miles per hour struck Monokuma in the mouth while enough force to sink into his face. What the freak was that? The speaker in Monokuma's mouth was immediately destroyed as his body rolled into a wall and stopped moving. Was that Sakura? Sayaka came to her senses and looked where the ball came from, flying from. Oh! Leon! Let's go!
Oh, dude! Why'd you do that, Leon? That crystal ball is really valuable!
Leon had stolen Yasuhiro's crystal ball and thrown it at Monokuma.
Trying to take Sayaka hostage.
Yo, I love that.
Dude,
that was
crystal
G.
ball cost me $2 trillion. $2 trillion! They don't even print that much money anymore.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay, hold on. So you're telling me you have more money than Togami? Is that what Hagakari is telling me? This bum-looking dude has $2 trillion?
Besides, if the world is
What
all
in the
screwed up,
freak?
what the hell are you gonna need money for anyway? But if it's safe out there, I'll just join the major leagues or whatever and pay you back. Well, I could pay you back doing something else besides baseball.
As those two argued, Sayaka fell to her knees.
Hey!
Shot at Leon running toward her. She's
Sayaka,
blushing.
are you okay?
She looked at him and stared blankly. She had made her mind up and she raised her head.
There's something I need to confess to you later.
What? Seriously?
Sayaka was staring at Leon so intensely that he briefly forgot about the current situation.
Not just to you, but to Makoto. And the others, too.
Sayaka had made up her mind to confess the sin that was weighing heavily on her heart, but Leon seemed not to... Man, I wish you could make $2 trillion by working a few jobs.
Alright, everyone. Let's ace this exam or whatever and get out of here already.
He borrowed some money from the Yakuza or whatever they're called.
This place get taken away.
Monokuma inside the monitor responded.
Now that things are finally coming to a boil, let's start the graduation exam.
What? Sakura, who had been outside the dormitory, suddenly appeared with some information.
The Monokumas in the hallway are acting peculiar.
The students all moved to the main building to see what Sakura was talking about. There they saw 50 Monokumas standing in 2 rows along the walls of the hallway, and one standing at the very end of the hall. There was something strange on top of this Monokuma's head. An enlarged version of the escape button that Makoto had obtained from the Mono machine. These students took in this sight, and an announcement rang.
The hall has a button on top of his head that'll open the main entrance. You'll have 15 seconds to get that button, and if you do, I'll let you have it in place of a diploma.
The students seemed surprised by the straightforward explanation. Only Celeste remained calm as she asked Monokuma with a bored look on her face.
Of course, it is not as simple as running up and taking it, is it?
Oh, how mean! Do I look like the kind of headmaster that would interfere with his students' graduation? Forget the gunfire salutes. I'm gonna send my graduates off with some fireworks!
Oh no!
100 fireworks to be exact, enough for 20 seconds of hardcore partying!
The more perceptive students immediately realized what he was talking about. The bombs installed inside each Monokuma. They would explode one after the other, filling the hallways with fire as soon as time started.
After 15 seconds, the me standing at the back of the hall is gonna sacrifice himself to give you guys one final firework. By the way, this probably isn't important, but that button isn't very durable.
I never actually shipped Leon and Sayaka. I just think it's toxic, but that's me. I feel you. I understand you. This graduation exam was Monokuma's way of saying that he had no intention of letting anyone leave. It was clear from the explosions the students saw during the entrance exam that the halls of Host Peak Academy would be bathed in fire. Oh crap! Even if someone was lucky enough to survive the explosions, the burns on their body alone would be enough to send them into a fatal shock. Their lungs might be completely incinerated by the scorched air before that. Even if they sacrificed one student to run through, the odds were low that they would even succeed. There was no reason for every student to run in at once either, and a shadow of despair fell upon their faces.
Very nice. I almost want to take a picture so I have those faces as a souvenir.
As Monokuma laughed from behind the monitor, Sakura stepped forward.
I'll do it. I have only seen the explosion once, but I believe I'm capable of withstanding its power.
No! You can't! Even you couldn't handle 100 of those explosions.
I love a fire bath. What about you guys? I don't know. This is a little too hot for me. Suddenly, Mondo remembered the motorcycle he parked inside the dormitory and said,
Hold up. That motorcycle might be fast enough to go through those explosions. I'll do it.
Don't be hasty.
urged Sakura.
If the motorcycle is unharmed by the explosions, that doesn't mean its rider will be.
Sakura and others continued their debate. One person stepped toward the hallway lined with Monokumas.
I'll do it.
Mukuro?
Screamed Makoto weakly. Mukuro, with her back facing Makoto, turned her head to the side slightly. He gave him a small nod. Aww! She knew it would come to this. She knew why Monokuma would pose such an impossible exam.
I was already looking forward to the next Despair game.
Don't do it!
To erase everyone's memories, including mine. She just wants to torment us and fill us with despair before that happens.
But Mukuro knew her sister's personality all too well, and that's why she was confident. She knew that the escape button was real. Whenever Junko brought despair to others, she would always make sure there was a possibility that despair would befall her instead. If the students won this gamble and made it through this horrible situation, they would finally escape to the outside world. That outcome would obviously fill Junko with immense despair. In the same way she left a clue in Monokuma's control program, Junko could not be satisfied unless she took pains to assure her own destruction. It was this quality that made Junko the ultimate despair. That's why Mukuro was determined to do it. She knew she was the only person who stood a chance of making that outcome possible, even if she had to risk her life. But right now, Mukuro wanted to live more than anything. She wanted to hold on to this world, a world she had no interest in previously. She didn't even know if this hesitation she felt was disappointing or not. But she wanted to live and continue searching for a new path. A path where she could abandon her submission to despair, where she could accept the sins of the past and continue to live. Mukuro, who was known as a war machine, found her heart beset by overwhelming fear and anxiety. Until now, it had never occurred to her that determination was necessary to live. As if she was brushing that fear aside, she quietly said,
Thank you, Makoto.
Unfortunately, the words she said to the boy who showed new possibilities never reached his ears. Sakura, however, heard her and frowned as she said,
You're planning to sacrifice yourself as an act of penance. I'll stop you with all my power.
I mean, she wants to do it. Though her words were firm, there was unmistakable affection hiding in them. Both girls had dedicated their lives to battle, and yet Mukuro felt a twinge of jealousy towards Sakura for possessing something she lacked. Mukuro leaned towards Sakura and whispered in her ear, Aw, wait, what?
Are you serious?
As Sakura's frown intensified, Monokuma's voice blared throughout the halls.
I'm gonna start the exam now.
Oh, crap!
Go!
There was no time for questions or objections. The frontmost Monokuma exploded, sending a roaring wave of heat through the air, through the hall. But Mukuro didn't look away. She began moving, powered by resolute determination. As soon as the graduation exam started, the mastermind focused her control entirely on the Monokuma holding the escape button and completely synchronized her field of vision with it. She knew what was going to happen next. She could predict what her sister Mukuro would do in this exact situation, where she would choose to focus her superhuman skill with weaponry, and so, though Monokuma's eyes, she watched it unfold. Wait, she just threw it? She just threw the metal bar? As if it was aiming for the point where the bomb's detonation system and Monokuma's power source overlapped. It flew straight and true, as if it had been fired by a master archer. In order to bring despair to Monokuma, and by extension Junko as well, the super soldier known as Mukuro Ikasaba threw the pipe like a spear so it could attack the same point she had pierced in the nurse's office. As explosions filled the hallway until only fire remained visible, the spear's speed and precision as it soared to its target defied all human logic, but the mastermind knew. She knew Mukuro had used her power to fill the world with despair. Power was all that disappointing girl had. My ears, I know. When Monokuma gets on there, it gets loud. The mastermind predicted that Mukuro would put all her effort into that throw, and Monokuma caught this metal bar perfectly between his hands. The force of the throw knocked Monokuma back several yards, but the point ended of the bar never pierced through. The mastermind turned to look at a different monitor. She wanted to see the look on Mukuro's face when she realized that she failed to strike Monokuma. Despair of seeing the final Monokuma explode right before her eyes completely obliterated the escape button. She wanted to sear the memory of her disappointing sister's final moments as her newfound hope sank into a dark pit of despair. On instinct, she turned her attention to the surveillance camera that hadn't been destroyed. But instead of seeing Mukuro and the others, she only saw Sakura, who looked as though she had finished launching an attack. She only thought it was strange for 1 second. But then the hopelessly powerful mastermind completely understood the situation and shifted her point of view to Monokuma. But because of that single second, Junko would feel just a pang of despair. 3 seconds left. Amid the smoke, flames, and heat encircling the hallway, it burst through with the speed of a cannon shell. It glared at Monokuma with hot, boiling eyes that betray the icy expression on its face, and then, sharply, swiftly, strongly, it transformed into a living weapon that cuts through everything, revealing its true form in that hall of despair. Oh my god! 2 seconds left. Monokuma was still holding the metal bar in his hands, tried to move, but at that exact moment, the living weapon carved a path through the flames and appeared. Its body, which had never been wounded on any battlefield, was sustaining all manner of burns and injuries. But even so, it did not falter. The fire in its eyes never flickered once. 1 second left. Dude, this is intense! She just flew through the hallway like that. Did you see that? The living weapon, Mukuro, slammed her knee into the back of the metal bar Monokuma was holding. The sharp tip of that metal bar pierced through Monokuma like a rail spike, shutting the detonator and his power source into pieces. Time's up. The 100 explosions ceased and smoke blanketed the hallway. Mukuro had dived into Monokuma, and the pristine escape button now rested in her hands. She and the other students of Host Peak Academy had passed the graduation exam. There's only a small amount of despair Monokuma had tasted it in only 3 seconds. Holy crap.
Junko.
That's wild. He could no longer move or self-destruct. When she spoke to him, a static-filled voice emitted from his mouth. It seemed his communication function still worked. Mukuro being a boss.
I never expected you to do that.
Seriously. What's up, NBA Highlights? How you been?
I must have overestimated you. I never thought you'd need anybody's help on the battlefield.
When I give the signal, please launch me forward with
What's
a
up, Lizzie?
kick.
Oh, so Sakura launched her. This before the explosion started. After Mukuro threw the metal bar, she jumped into the air at the exact moment Sakura unleashed a roundhouse kick. Right when Sakura's foot made contact with her own, Mukuro used the force generated by her kick to propel herself at Monokuma. That's wild! Using the ultimate martial artist superhuman attack like a springboard, she shot herself through the air like an artillery shell. That's crazy! Enduring intense heat, shrapnel, and blood-draining G-force, she stayed conscious as she charged through the hallway engulfed with explosions and despair. The stream's going good, NBA. I appreciate you stopping by. She trusted Junko to predict that she'd throw the metal bar. Then she tried to look at her face as the despair sets in. The Junko Nishima she knew would definitely do that. Although Mukuro hadn't predicted that her sister would try to kill her with the spears of Gungnir, she had a better understanding of her actions now. As Mukuro stared Monokuma in his face, all he could do was laugh scornfully.
Hands for a deadly battle? I don't know how I feel about that. You'll always be a half-assed disappointment. I guess this time I'll just say I lost because I didn't see this much disappointment coming. The end, the end.
Dear Lord, Mukuro shook her head at Monokuma.
You're wrong, Junko.
Huh?
If you want to talk about winning or losing, I think we lost before we even started.
Mukuro's eyes shifted from side to side as if she was unsure of something, and she fidgeted in a place as she continued to talk.
No matter how much despair they felt, you didn't think they'd kill each other the way they were before. That's why you erased their memories. They aren't like the others you forced in the past. You knew these students would never do it. That's what you believed, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
So, it's okay, Junko. I'll bring back everyone's memories someday, and I'll show you everyone's happiness and their bonds. I'll show that to you.
Aww.
And fill you with even more despair.
Mukuro nodded after she said this, as if to cheer her sister up. After several seconds of silence, Monokuma responded.
You finally beat me this one time, and that lame speech is the best you can do? You're such a disappointment. You never fill me with despair. It's just constant disappointment.
After pouting like a sore loser, Monokuma continued to speak in his usual tone.
We'll be back. And when that time comes, I'll invite you guys to a wonderful place. I found out about this fun island. while
Let
I
it
was
rest.
here.
Let it rest. Monokuma's laughter filled the room before the static finally cut out and his remains fell silent. He wouldn't be talking anytime soon. The mastermind was already preparing a new despair to bring to the world and to the students of Hope's Peak Academy, Junko included. In the end, the mastermind stayed in her Monokuma persona until the very end, and Junko Nishima never showed her face again. It was as if she resented the despair Mukuro had given her. That thought almost filled Mukuro with despair, but then when she heard her classmates calling for her, she sealed that despair into the depths of her heart. From now on, she would seal away all her despair. And one day, when she can give Junko the perfect despair, she'll unleash all the despair she stored and plunge with her sister into a dark abyss.
I won't leave my little sister alone.
In the end, that was the first hope the disappointing older sister had felt since she was a child. Wow, that's crazy.
Are you really going to go out wearing that wig?
I love that. I love this. After receiving a blood transfusion of the correct blood type, Makoto was beginning to show signs of recovering. Mukuro, holding her wig to disguise herself as Junko, and Nishima nodded.
Junko, I might be able to understand her better.
Mukuro is the biggest goat ever. Despite that, Mukuro's voice still sounded like her own, as if she hadn't fully decided.
My mind. While I'm out there, I've decided I'll accept everyone's hatred towards me and toward Junko. I can't die until I've destroyed all the despair that Junko has spread.
The damage that ultimate despair inflicted upon the world could not be measured in terms of money, culture, or even human life. Television broadcasts had already begun informing people that Junko Nishima and Mukuro Ikasawa were the heart of ultimate despair. Oh, well, at least everyone's good now. Among the survivors in the outside world, there are still people who hadn't been tainted by despair yet. Regardless of the fact that she released Makoto and the others, to the survivors, she was nothing more than the reason the world ended. And to the terrorists wearing Monokuma masks, who continued to ravage the world, Mukuro was nothing but a traitor. She was now in the hopeless situation of being enemies with most of humanity, but Mukuro wasn't making a big deal out of it.
I'm going to try not to kill anyone who comes after me for revenge.
She didn't
Wouldn't
care.
it be safer to just turn yourself in? Well, you might just get executed instead. But you could live to be an old lady if your trial keeps getting pushed back.
Mukuro slowly shook her head at Yasuhiro.
Justice. These things no longer exist.
Is it really that bad out there?
What's up, Kibo?
Maybe we
K1BO?
should just stay in here.
Ignorant idiots, just shut up. Your fate won't change whether you stay in here or not.
Though he was shocked to learn the Togami Corporation had been destroyed, Togami continued to remain firm and proud even toward Mukuro. Continued
So I will let
Byakuya.
you live for now. Depending on your actions, I may consider forgiving your crimes after I built a new world.
Only a Togami would boast that they're capable of forgiving the crime of ending the world.
I don't plan on just surviving.
After turning away from Togami, Mukuro looked at the other students. Everyone was reacting in their own way. Toko, having just changed back from Genocide Jack, was panicked and confused. Mukuro looked back on the 2 years she spent with them, then turned to Makoto, who shared the same memories as her, and gave him the escape button.
Makoto, you press it.
Huh? Me?
I think it's better if you press it.
Little do we know that escape button is the self-destruct button. As she watched Makoto set the button with some hesitation, Mukuro thought about it. You guys will be back. Mukuro knew that Monokuma was telling the truth. After all, the file the students needed to fully restore their lost memories remained hidden in the academy. The research notes of Yasuke Matsuda, the ultimate neurologist. Danganronpa 0! His research is the key to restoring everyone's memories. Even if the students no longer have their memories, they may be able to repair the bonds they had built among themselves over the past 2 years. But as long as their memories remain unrestored, the mastermind could still repeat her deadly plan. Although the island mentioned earlier sounded strange, the students could not turn their backs on the despair facing them. Time to blow up, right?
Let's go.
The new empire will be the best empire. Makoto remembered everything that was happening in the outside world. The boy who had chosen to remain inside the academy 2 years ago was now choosing to leave. How did he manage, or how did he struggle to come to that decision? But he was determined to face the despair awaiting him outside and hid his internal conflict from the others. By protecting Makoto's hope, Mukuro would bring despair to her beloved sister. But she no longer knew if the result of her goal would lead to hope or despair. She pulled her wig over her head and hid her face with her hands. Was she smiling because hope was waiting for her? Or was she crying because her path would lead to despair? When she lowered her hands, her face was devoid of all emotion. Mukuro no longer knew what expression she would wear on her face. At the same time, Makoto pressed the escape button. The siren began to wail as the turrets retracted into the ceiling. From beyond the heavy door, a bright light appeared. An infinite number of ifs and all the possibilities contained therein encased the world, accepting everything, hope, despair, and even the feelings of that disappointing girl, Mukuro Ikasaba. Yo! That freaking story is amazing. That was so good to like watch again. And just the work that they put in for that is insane. Rio went in. Rio went in. That was great animation, dude. This was an amazing series. For real, the best ending. That was crazy. That whole entire visual novel was awesome. Like, you got to see so much about Mukuro, and it even gave some shine to, you know, certain characters that they didn't really get to touch upon in the first game, like Sayaka and Leon. Sakura was one. So I love seeing that kind of like what if thing about it. I just love what if stories just in general, you know. Great if, yes, this was really good. The only reason why Mukuro changed was so that way they wouldn't have to change the escaping animation. Yeah, pretty much. If only do be walking slow, gave the people who deserve better a great ending. Yeah, exactly. I love that. That was cool. So shouts out to Sid Gal and all of them. All of that stuff is in the description if you want to go check it out yourself, of course. Shouts out to all these voice actors too. We have Linz, Webcake, Ribs, Sakura, I'm Near, Zula, Starlessness. I can't even say that. Apple, a Blur, Gauntlet Knight, Remington, Ace, Soul Eater Will. Y'all all did amazing with your voices. Who did Monokuma's voice? Because they had a ton of voice They had a ton of lines. Blake Allen. Blake Allen went in. That was a great Monokuma voice. There's two people that I know that do really good Monokuma impressions who are in a lot of fan gans and such. One is Kevin, Kago Kev. He's a YouTuber also. And Blake Allen. I think I've heard Blake Allen in something else too. He did Sakura's voice too? Wow, that's crazy. What was your favorite part? Definitely when Mondo just pulled up, bro. When Mondo pulled up with that motorcycle, that was hype. I'm not gonna lie, that ending though, with Sakura and Mukuro, when Sakura like kicked and Mukuro springboarded off her kick, that was wild with the spear. I would have never imagined that happening. Like, crap. It just shows you how precise and how powerful both of those two are. Sakura and Mukuro. Mondo said, get in, lower W. We're getting out of here. I know, right? And the Bumblebee motorcycle really, like, straight up. Weeby News? Where's Weeby? Oh, yeah. Her video's like right here. Yeah. And my video's there. Oh, wait. The live stream's right here, just randomly. That's funny. Yeah, the finale is the best part, not gonna lie. I appreciate all of you guys for coming. Thank you. Hit that like button if you haven't already. The Weeby recommendations on the screen be like, I know. I always see my own videos. Here's Nezumi. I know we're just randomly talking right now, but here's Nezumi right here. I see their videos all the time. I think Wince Media was the one who brought him up earlier. I see her videos all the time though. They're long though. That's the thing. Like, they're long reviews. I'm pretty sure they're good, but I'm not one of those people that likes to watch long retrospectives on games and TV shows and stuff. I know that's like the wave right now, but like a 3-hour review, that ain't for me, homie. I'm sorry. 2-hour review. I'm pretty sure it's amazing. And I'm pretty sure everything that they're saying in that review is spot on, but like 3 hours is a bit much. That is a bit much. I don't know how people do it. I'd have to go ahead and give them a round of applause for that, because I don't know how people make videos that are that long. That's crazy. I've been watching since I got out of school. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, just for you guys hanging out with me. I know we were just here reacting to Danganronpa IF. Thank you so much. I didn't know it was going to be this long, but it was good. It's good. I bet. There's another YouTuber that does something like this. They're called... let me see. Oh yeah, Quentin Reviews. This guy. He does like reviews on like old TV shows. Like he had an iCarly one, and this one's Victorious. Bruh, 8 hours, bruh? 8 hours is a lot. Yeah, Nezumi is built different. You should react to your old videos. Oh god, no, I'll cringe the whole entire time. Pyrocynical made an 8-hour review about a TV show. Hi, Diana, what's up? That is super long, holy moly. There ain't no way I would sit and watch this. Bro, if you guys watch reviews this long, I better never hear y'all ever complain about any of my videos or streams being long, bro. What if you watch your stream while you're doing your stream? That'd be hilarious. Have a great rest of your day, Blaze. Bye, Nat. I loved his iCarly. I did watch his iCarly one, because I think I am subscribed to him. I did what? No, I'm not subscribed. Okay, that's fine though. I'll subscribe anyway. I did watch this review though, the end of iCarly. Oh no, I binged iCarly. I don't think I watched the end one. I know I watched the binged one, which is still almost 5 hours, but I was just chilling that day. I think it was one of those days where I didn't have to work or I didn't stream or make a video or anything, and I was just like, I'll watch this. And I remember my girlfriend coming into my room and being like, why are you watching this? And I was like, I don't know. It's kind of good. I couldn't stand that many hours. Yeah, that's a lot. True that. In fact, I actually get weirdly excited if you have long streams. Really? That's cool. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I like watching streams. I can watch a stream, but a stream you don't have to pay attention to, you know? You don't have to really pay attention to a stream the whole entire time. Look at this. It's Blazeception. I'm here. That's hilarious. What the freak? I watch all of them because when I write, I guess that would be kind of cool. Because I know I watch streams when I'm like editing and such. So long videos and streams are amazing background music when making sprites and art and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Blaze is watching their stream. I'm just on the freaking it's a perception. It's Inception right now. Blazeception, yeah. Blaze is watching their stream. Let it play. That's funny. But anyways, thank you guys for coming once again. You're amazing. I'm actually about to end the stream right now. Hopefully I see you guys in the next stream. It's gonna be Danganronpa 69. I know I was gonna do hypotheticals today, but I lied. I actually lied because I didn't want anybody to know my idea. My idea was to keep this a surprise, and I surprised you guys with it, right? That's cool. Yay, surprise. You gotta love surprises, you know? Sometimes I lie to surprise you guys. But yeah, we'll do hypotheticals on the weekend though. All right, bye Blaze. This is my first stream that I came to. Oh, well thanks Sebi. I appreciate it. Bye. I feel like I've seen you in the stream chat before, so I hope you ain't lying. Maybe it was somebody else though. But bye everyone. Have a good day.